No.
Oh no, he's from Buffalo, so he knows things about flaming tables. Those Bills fans are insane.
Oh, okay, there we go.
I have family in Buffalo, but yeah.
I'm going to Buffalo in week 6 to see the Bills and Titans probably. So.
Ah, nice.
Oh, you're gonna watch the Tits play, huh?
The Titans, yeah. That's their team name.
I don't know. I might go out to watch a Cowboys game later on this year, but that this whole thing's got to follow suit before that.
That was like a 2-day controversy.
Oh yeah,
Tennessee Tits.
Well, maybe if they were actually showing tits, they'd be in the butt. Oh yeah, bye.
This is a warning to all living mortals. That who shall ever open this chest of demons will release 13 of the most terrifying ghosts upon the face of the earth. Okay, cut it. This isn't going to work. Let's try some nostalgia bait.
It's kind of strange. You looking happily rain. I can settle a shin bed. Or have you picked your target yet? Listen, dear. Got your dog bite. Listen, dear.
Okay, that was better. But let's try something a bit more cinematic.
Hey, where my broken arrows at? They try to tell us we can't fly. Like we too broken or something. I mean, I'd rather let them know. Balls up. Hold up. Hold up. My squad about to roll up. Hold up. Hold up. My squad about to roll up. Broken arrows. Get them balls up. Get them balls up. Get them balls up. Get them balls up. Hold up. Hold up. My squad about to roll up. Hold up. Hold up, my squad about to roll up, all the way up, get them balls, 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 all the way up. Broken arrows get bows up, sometimes I pray with my nose up, thinking about when the world crumbles and my whole squad just goes up. Ain't gotta worry, we straight like an arrow, yeah. Ain't gotta worry about faith, nope. I'm on that straight and the narrow, yeah. I just go straight like an arrow, yeah.
Yeah, that's the shit I like. Let's start the Barroom podcast. Take it away, Jacob.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I am back from Tennessee. I'm back from my weekend excursion. And we're here for episode 114 of the Barroom Podcast. And I'm joined here tonight with some of your favorite panelists here in the whole wide world. We'll start off with our good buddy Cider. How you doing tonight, Cider?
I'm high. I mean, hello.
Yeah, that would have been way preferable than what you said previously. Also joining us here... You son of a
What
bitch.
the fuck was that?
That was a live look inside of a house of a black woman. Next up here tonight is Rob Motto. How you doing tonight, Rob?
I was having a good night. No, just kidding. I'm good. I've watched some college football this weekend, and it reminds me why I don't watch college football. But that's, I'm glad football's back. I'm glad I thought you were going to Miami, Florida, not Tennessee.
Well, here's the thing. I was supposed to go to Gainesville, Florida for the Miami and the Florida game, but then plans changed last minute, so I ended up opting to go to Knoxville, and I spent the weekend in Knoxville, went to the Chattanooga, Tennessee game, got to go to the whole college town over there, so I decided to go there, and then this Saturday I'm actually going to Auburn for the Cal and Auburn game, so there you go.
Did they tell you what a Chattahoochee is?
It's a town in Tennessee that people live in, allegedly.
Way down yonder on the Chattahoochee.
But I will say this just real quick on football is that I saw the games this weekend. Not a great slate for games. I mean, objectively, LSU and USC was the best game of the weekend, but they were like the only two teams that were even equally matched. The matchmaking this week was just absolutely horrendous. They didn't give to a lot of good
Like
games.
Goku versus a baby.
Basically, it's like if Goku and Krillin fought each other and they were like bloodlusted. It's like, what did you think was going to happen? It's like,
this is how it used to be in college football, though. Like the top teams used to have a patty cake schedule the first 3 or 4 weeks, and then they started their conference schedule. Now the conferences are so big that like you might get a few of these early weeks where they're blowouts, but most of the season's supposed to be highly competitive. So we'll see how it turns out.
And just to answer our buddy Top Dog real quick, who asked, "Did I see any hot sorority college chicks there?" I will say this: Tennessee is like snow bunny heaven. So if that's your thing, and you're looking for young college age Lycos, definitely go to Tennessee if that's your thing. Not that I'm recommending that. I'm just saying that they're there. And by the way, speaking of Orange, because volunteer Orange Tennessee, Orange Hat's here. Well, why don't you have a Tennessee shirt on, Orange?
Why the fuck would I have a Tennessee shirt on?
I don't know. You don't even have a Syracuse orange shirt. You're in New York. So what's your excuse there,
Fuck the Syracuse orange.
Well, get out
and
of here.
I used to live in Syracuse, folks. I can tell you stories that would make you wonder how I'm still alive.
No, we don't wonder that at all. We know for fervence. So, but yeah, that's kind of the weekend roundup.
Into a sports bar and say I'm not really into sports. Have everybody fucking look at you like they want to kill you. And I said that about the orange.
Yeah, no shit. It's upstate New York. Like, what did you think was going to happen? Like,
it's central New York. Do not make that mistake, man.
You said that too fast.
There is no central New York, by the way. There is no central New York. Even if geographically there is, nobody calls it that.
It's New York City, and there's literally everything else. Like that's right. Really what it comes down to.
Yeah, and that's how the retards drew the map.
And that's
in
how
sexual New York.
It's sexual.
Canada,
I didn't say sexual. I said central. Get it right, man.
Fucking upstate.
I'm in upstate New York or northern New York.
Yeah, like I said, upstate New York.
Canada. Yeah. Okay.
I'm in the Arctic Circle, if that's Canada for you.
Yeah, you and Orange Insider should just go to a New England Patriots game and then call it in the middle somewhere.
No. All of us would hate that.
A Massachusetts meetup, especially like somewhere in like January where it's like -5 outside.
Oh, then I'd be comfortable. But no, Boston. Ugh.
Oh, them and the Dunkin' Donuts. It's just
meet in a field somewhere in New Hampshire. Just in a field somewhere, just randomly. Just geo-map it, like GeoGuessr. Just go to one of those locations. Just be the guys in the GeoGuessr photo.
We are live here on 3 platforms at the moment. We're live on Twitch, YouTube, and on Rumble. I'm pretty sure Keith is joining us over on our Rumble side of things right now. We do have people on the YouTube side of things. So let's give a quick little shout out here. Warren Chat beat everyone here talking about the Sound Like 3 has the interview ablaze. I didn't know that was a reference to the tagline. And guess what? I'm too lazy to change it, so I'm not going to. But there we go. Neozoic here says, greeting Barroom crew and the good fellas in the chat. He also has a question for us. Says, which Spielberg movie based on a novel would you rather go and read? Jurassic Park or Jaws? I will say this because I've seen both of these recently. I'm going to say something somewhat controversial. I think Jaws is a better movie than Jurassic Park. Take that.
Well, it is, but that's not the question.
It is.
I've read Jurassic Park, and it's an excellent novel. Like the book, I love the book. The movies, like, I do not understand why people love it so much or why it's so overrated. But again, it's the same fucking thing. Well, plenty of people actually. So, but no, it's like, you know what I mean? It's a monster movie largely with some science fiction thrown in there. But yeah, no, I do really like the novel. I have not read Jaws, so I can't really comment, but I am told by reputation it's sort of a trashy, like a lot of the great movies, their source material is just like dime store trash novels, and Peter Benchley's Jaws is kind of fits that description.
Believe me, if you read Jaws, you will wonder why there's a lot of shit not in the movie, or you will definitely see a very different story. I mean, Chief Brody's wife cheats on him. Fucking with Hooper. Hooper fucks Brody's wife and then goes out on a boat to help him kill a shark. So,
remember what I just said about trashy material? So there you go.
Yeah.
But The Godfather was like that too. Eventually. The Godfather was not some elevated gangster novel. It was a trashy, sort of exploitative, ripped from the headlines, bloody details of shootouts, and it just doesn't. It's not what the movie is. So, that's why it's an adaptation.
Mm-hmm.
Dinosaurs go brrrr.
Yeah, I was going to ask you there for a second. As a resident stoner, what would be more terrifying to watch while you're high? Would it be sharks or dinosaurs? And I figured sharks because they're actually real, unlike the dinosaurs. So I mean, wouldn't that be more terrifying?
Dinosaurs,
you're just laughing
actually, because
it's funny. It's like
because Jaws is more of a psychological horror. You don't
I'm a bad person to ask for this because I think sharks are cuddly. So, and dinosaurs are dead. So, yeah, dinosaurs are scarier because they're dead, But sharks, they're just kind of chill if they're not like hungry. They're just kind of like, "What's up? I'm a shark. What are you doing today?"
All right.
Sorry. Maybe somebody else would be like, it's a shark. But me, I'm like, just bring it in, buddy. Come on. You'll feel better. You just need a hug.
Just tries to hug it.
Yeah, Jaws just needs a hug. That's all. That's all they needed to do. Hug the shark, and he would have been like, okay, I'm sorry.
Man, maybe if those people had just hugged him, they wouldn't have gotten eaten. Maybe
See, it's what he's trying to do. They just fell in his mouth.
Not
again. No, I just want to be friends.
Here's another question from Neil. Said, what movie based on R.G. Wells would you rather
H.G. Wells?
H.G. Wells, man. Learn to read.
Yeah, H.G.
War of the Worlds.
Abbreviations.
Let's just go with that. War of the Worlds, even though the Invisible Man also exists.
The Time Machine.
Give me a Cthulhu.
Oh, yeah. It's a good one.
It's beautiful. It tells the story of a man's hubris to control God's creation and failing miserably and realizing that he shouldn't tamper with the flow of his own life, let alone others. It's an absolutely beautiful, and it strangely accurately predicted the elite becoming an underground human-eating populace while the surface dwellers became fucking idiots that eat Tide Pods and play in traffic.
What were they? Do you remember what they were called? I know
the Morlocks and Eloy.
Morlocks and Eloy.
It's burned into my head because when I saw it as a kid, I was like, nah, that's not going to be real. And by the time I was 14, I was like, it's real.
So you're talking about the original from like the 30s, like the super old, or are you talking about the newer Time Machine with Guy Pearce? Because there's a couple different versions of the Time
novel.
Machine. Oh, you're talking about the book. Because it said favorite movie. Favorite movie based on. Favorite movie.
Sorry. Yeah. No, that would be the 60s. That would be the one from the 60s that featured the Cold War scene where had the air raid sirens and made your ears bleed.
So I'm assuming you're not talking about the one with Guy Pearce.
I don't know who that is. So no.
Okay. It's okay.
Yeah. Have they made a movie about Cthulhu yet?
It's not the new one where the Morlocks are like monkeys. That was really dumb.
That was gay. My answer is that H.G. Wells is a commie, and I refuse to answer this question. But if I did, I would go War of the Worlds. So there you
go. Was he?
That's a lot of people in Hollywood, unfortunately.
Yeah, I mean, there was like a few movies about it. It's kind of a thing.
Yeah.
Who else do we have here?
I don't know.
Leslie Tarkin, hail to all you lovely people. Hey, Leslie. Vanya's also joining us here as well. Who else do we have here piling in on us? I don't recall any Wells work besides War of the Worlds. I would have to see the movies based on it. Have the studios gone too far with these popcorn buckets? I've not jumped onto this popcorn bucket trend because I'm not a big collectible guy to begin with. So it's like I don't need to have a whole shelf full of Deadpool and Batman popcorn buckets. Like, I'm not that big of a mark, but I mean, if you guys want to go all in on that whole thing, it's like great. I mean, I worked at a movie theater for a little bit of time, and all I know is that the popcorn is severely overpriced. And you guys are paying like, you know, $11 for a bucket of popcorn that probably costs AMC like 75 cents.
So here's the thing, Leslie. I'm really high, so you're gonna have to forgive me for this one. But when they put a fleshlight in the bottom of the bucket, that's when they've gone too far. Okay.
Yeah, Dune 2. That was Dune 2.
line.
Yeah, the vagina bucket.
Yep.
Yeah, that's
That's too far. But up until then, they'd have all the fun they like. But that's the line for me, is when they put a fleshlight in the bottom of the bucket.
We're only a step away from there.
Is this about the Alien Romulus buckets?
Yes.
I mean,
all of them. It's all the buckets.
All the fucking buckets.
It's just all the buckets.
All the bucket fucking.
Tactus Jones said that he would go with the First Men on the Moon, 1964. Who else do we have here? Doba Fett. Shout out to Doba Fett. I did get Top Dog's first question here. It says that you have to choose a team from Lob City Lakers or the late 2000 Phoenix Suns. Which one are you choosing? I don't know how many people here are actually like NBA fans, but I would pick the Clippers. But I mean, like I said, that's a very specific
Did
question.
Shaq play for either of those?
Shaq did in fact play for the Phoenix Suns in the late 2000s when his career was
one.
well over.
That one. That's the one.
Well over. Yeah, Shaq on the Phoenix Suns, which you can certify as washed at that time.
So the Lob City Clippers, that was DeAndre Jordan and Blake Griffin.
Yeah, and Chris Paul.
Okay. I'd probably go Clippers. Yeah,
they were entertaining, but they did not win a damn thing that entire time that they were together. So yeah. Let's say Chattahoochee is a river. What else we have here? College football is so much fun. Tailgating is awesome. Yeah, hopefully, I'll say Auburn has a tough act to follow with Tennessee. We'll just put it that way. UNC and Duke certainly have some good barriers. I will say this too. Where I was at, I was kind of like on the eastern side of like Tennessee, like where Knoxville is, and I was so close to like a multitude of other states. I really just wanted to just get in my car, so like driving around like the entire country, but I knew that I couldn't because I only had an allotted amount of time. But I was so close to like North Carolina and Kentucky and South Carolina, so I could have easily make that a multi-state road trip if I wanted to, and it wouldn't have been like anything at all. But you know, you gotta go with your original interior area, unfortunately. Do you ever consider going to Hawaii as a dream? I'm gonna be completely honest with you. Like, even when I was in San Diego, when I was much closer to Hawaii than where I am now, I had really had no intrigue of ever going to Hawaii. Maybe that's just me, but it's never been a place that, you know, intrigued me. It's like you're basically trapped on an island where like everything's like 8 times more expensive due to imports. And then that's what Hawaii is to me. So it's like, yeah, never a draw with me. I'm not sure about you guys.
I've never been myself. I might like to go like one day, but here's the thing: you fly into the main island, and to see anything worthwhile, apparently you have to take a fucking small plane, which I'm terrified of. So I'm good. You know, I might see Honolulu. And I'll go home. Like I don't.
The last thing Rob needs is a plane that floats like this. Go.
I've seen Raiders of the Lost Ark too many times. Okay, so like let's just not do that, please.
Oh man, let's see. DK we got here, Biona Rad we also have here as well today. Who else we got here? The human characters are way better in Jaws, absolutely. Black Widow versus Dinosaur. Yeah, we'll get to that one later on our show here. Leslie's always been a dream to go there. I'm assuming talking about Hawaii, so I'm gonna keep that one in. Maurice Johnson. Leslie, I would like to go around Christmas or Thanksgiving. Fish are friends, not food. Yeah, good luck selling that one here in the American South, where there's like a seafood joint on like literally every single corner you can think of. So I don't think humans got the message of that whole thing. I did have a pretty sweet shrimp po' boy sandwich while I was in Tennessee, so I'll give them a little bit of credit there. I don't have room in my house for a bunch of popcorn buckets. Yeah, me too. That just seems like much of a nightmare. What else do we have here? Shaq on the Suns was a disaster. Yeah, almost as bad as you forget about the teams that he played for like in the last couple of years of his career, and he was on like the Cavs at one point. I think that was like his final stop in his career. He was trying to win Cleveland a ring. Like, here's the thing: Shaq left the Lakers and then he wanted to one up Kobe, so he went to the Miami Heat. Now, when he went to the Miami Heat, he had lost a bunch of weight. He was still somewhat good there, and he helped Dwayne Wade win a championship. Then he fell off the cliff there. He never actually recovered. Then from there, he just went from one team to another, saying that, oh, I'm going to bring a ring to this city. I'm going to bring a ring to this city. He never did. So he went to Phoenix. He went to Cleveland. He was on Boston at one point in time. Never got remotely close to bring a championship to any of those cities. And then he eventually retired. So they're Shaq. If you want my estimation, probably shouldn't have left the Magic, but that's a whole conversation for another day. So here's how we're going to do tonight's show. We're going to get some of the more serious, in-depth discussions out of the way so we can have a little bit more fun in the second half of the show. So in order to get the nonsense out of the way, let's talk about Amandla Stenberg, who rambled on for about 8 minutes saying absolutely nothing. I think that the takeaway was that her show ended because of racism or something like that. Yeah, she's a black woman, so that makes sense. But no, something racism, something Star Wars, something bigotry, and she uploaded this. It's 8.5 minute video, which I just have to show you guys because it's the most incoherent thing that I've seen in quite some time. You're gonna get about 4 minutes in and realize she hasn't said anything at all, and this is kind of the big sticking point with her. And we'll talk about her career overall here in a second. But here's her video.
However, I feel okay. Okay.
Is your volume down?
Hello.
No, that's hers.
Okay.
Oh yeah, it is my own. My bad.
I thought I would get on here and just speak candidly.
Aimlessly.
I hate doing this, but I'm gonna do it. I'm
laughing. I hate it so much.
Very much anymore. And I'm so happy about that. But
I'm totally not clawing my eyes
out there that I want to acknowledge and I want to show appreciation and love and support for.
Geeks and gamers, Nerdrotic.
On here to talk about this, which is that our Star Wars show has been canceled. And
oh no, what happened?
I'm gonna be transparent and say that it's not a huge shock for me.
Oh, why would that be?
I live in the
Not for me either.
But for those who aren't aware, there has been a rampage of vitriol that we have faced since the show was even announced. When it was still just a concept and no one had even seen it. And that's when we...
And to be fair, when they did see it, it only got worse.
Started experiencing a rampage of... I would say hyper-conservative
bigotry
and vitriol.
So not like that George Bush normal conservatism that you guys all remember. This is hyper-conservative bigotry that led to the downfall of her show. And to answer Leslie's question just real quick, this is a 25-year-old woman. This is not a 15-year-old girl, which I know can be easily confused watching her speak in this video. But no, this is a woman who's probably closer to 40 than she is to the other number that I mentioned. So yeah, keep that in mind.
Prejudiced, hatred, and hateful language towards us. And this really affected me when I first got the job, because it's just not something, even though I anticipated it happening, it's not something you can fully understand what it feels like until it's happening to you.
As she's trying to rewrite history here, I just wanted to make this perfectly like the heat from this show came from people who saw the show. Like, we covered a lot of the interviews that they were doing leading up to it, talking what they were trying to do with the Star Wars show. But it was people who actually watched the show that said that this was garbage. It had nothing to do with hatred and bigotry and blah, blah, blah. I showed literally the scene of them conjuring babies, the lesbian space witches scene, to a normie who has no concept of Star Wars or Disney Plus or any of the whole culture war stuff, and he was utterly, I guess the only safe word I could say here on YouTube is befuddled about what he was witnessing, because he could not. I told him, if I were to tell you with no context that this is a Star Wars TV show, what would your reaction be? And he couldn't even put the words together based on what he had saw. That show was that awful. So the fact that it got canceled less than a month after the last episode aired has more to do with the fact that the show just wasn't as good as you guys made it out to be.
However, I feel like I've kind of moved through those feelings in various ways, including being vocal about it myself. For me, it just became a situation where there was no option but for me to honor my sense of ethics and my belief system and my value system while being in this very unique position. It was kind of like I had this very unique experience of experiencing the world at large, which is, of course, hyper-divisive.
My favorite experience is when I experience things.
Through the lens of this very, very unique...
There's some muscle memory right there.
Someone's going to clip that out of context.
And it brought up a lot for me, socio-political dynamics, a lot about my own value system, how I respond to that kind of hatred, how I move through the world at large. And it just became inarguable for me at a certain point that...
I mentioned this on last week's show on the 01 when we talked about this. This woman is basically filibustering her entire video here. Like this is a filibuster. This is when he just needs you to stand there for like several hours and run your mouth and talk about literally nothing. So that way this bill doesn't get passed. This is what we've done. This is how a lot of these people in 2024 talk now. And it's really, really annoying.
It's Kamala talk.
Yeah. It's
wait till the end of it. She says the same thing. We are living in the context of our lives. She laughs and she says that because she's mocking Kamala. Because the whole thing was a Kamala-ized speech.
The context of our lives line, that was actually from her diss track, if I remember correctly.
Oh yeah, remember that 8-minute diss track that she released?
Continue to be myself. I would have to honor my value system by being vocal, even within the context of working for Disney and working within the large. Within the large, massive.
And of course, she has a cat. Like, why do all the mentally broken women have cats? That's not a shot at any of the women who frequent on this show. Just
crazy cat ladies, vote for Kamala.
IP that is Star Wars. On that topic, I just have to say it has been an incredible honor and dream for me to be in this universe. It still feels, even though, of course, I'm very sad about the show being canceled, and I'm sad about us not being able to give people who are invested into it more, because I'll just feel a lot of levity and joy around the fact that I got to experience it.
That you did. They feel it because you did. Oh,
this is all happening to her.
I poured through a lot of different iterations of fan art and ship art and fan theories and things that were just
basically she was getting a lot of art porn about her character on the Star Wars.
Filled my heart with joy. And I just want to let those people know out there who support.
By the way, like if you're just into a show and your first thought is, wouldn't it be cool if this person banged this person? You're a degenerate.
You know, I just want to say this, right? Like she thinks that now until Chris Chan gets a hold of Acolyte and starts making like Acolyte-a-chew. All right? You know, Osha-chew. And then she's not going to like that fan art anymore. She's not going to like those fanfics anymore.
And then it's going to get the attention of the Feta-chew.
I'm sorry. This whole thing reminds me of Watchmen when, like, what's her name? I'm trying to think of the character's name. Mrs. Jupiter is getting these like lewd cartoons of her getting fucked or whatever. Like they're cartoon porn or whatever. It's just like Tijuana Bible. And she values these things because somebody still sees her as attractive, as that thing that she used to be. And this it's gotten very sad very quickly.
Yeah, it's gotten to. It just keeps going. It just
okay. To be fair, I did see a movie with this chick in it called "The Hate You Give," which is utterly like just utter like anti-cop trash. Where it's just like just, hey, feel sorry for me because my brother got shot by the police. That was the whole movie. That was literally the whole thing.
We'll get to her filmography here in a second because, like I said, she's literally have never been in a single thing that's ever been considered good, and we'll run down here in a bit.
And supported us vocally, despite and in the face of all of the vitriol that we received and the kind of the targeted
hate
attack,
they gave.
I would say we received by the alt-right. Just that we were
God.
love.
The alt-right. We're still doing the alt-right in 2024? Or we're still doing that?
Appreciated, and it made this job all the worthwhile for me, and it made all of the challenging elements of it completely worthwhile for me. And so that, plus my love of sci-fi and fantasy, and being able to be a part of the legacy of something that I so deeply value, and something that means so much to me, and
It's so boring.
So I also just want to
make it stop.
Life-changing experience to be a part of, and I have to thank Leslie Headland.
Damn it, Wade!
Who just fucking love that bitch. She just
We might get pulled because of that one.
She's just one of the best people in the world. I think she's so incredibly talented and unique and kind, and I'll love her forever. And I'll love this experience with her forever. But
oh god, we're almost 7 minutes in. Don't worry, people. We're at the end of this.
Watched it. Thank you for being so loving and supportive and excited and nerdy and awesome
and gay. Don't forget super duper gay.
I'll continue to process this for a long time.
I hope so.
But maybe the last thing I want to say on this.
I hope this is a horrible wound on your soul.
I'll say, just to Maurice's point here, this is how a lot of women talk. It's been 7 minutes and she's had no point. I say this is a filibuster conversation here. It's like you're waiting for there to be some kind of central point or that she wants to make, like in this video. You realize it's never going to come.
We all exist in the context of all in which we live. But I'm serious. It's not lost on me how the way that these events have unfolded is also due to the hyper divisiveness of the time that we live in. That
divisiveness. It's not just regular divisiveness. It's not even mega divisiveness. It's hyper divisiveness
that reinforce our biases. And I think that
our biases.
But I think that in a particular sector of people, it manifests as a lot of fear for what is changing, and a lot of hatred for anything that is other. And
30 is gonna hit you like a sledgehammer, lady.
Us all, and challenge myself to continue.
You're about 5 years away from looking like Raven Simone right now.
Nah, that's gonna go full Wanda Sykes. I promise you.
Let's vote, y'all.
Really?
Let's vote.
Yeah.
Let's vote. I think that's all I have to say. Well,
no, I'm sure there's more. You keep talking, so it's not all you have to say.
I'm sorry, but this goes hand in hand with like something I saw the other day or the other week, where it's like, why do women always, why are they doing things while they're like making a video, or like, you know what I mean, brushing their hair, putting makeup on, like do it. And again, she's really bad in this, where she's just fucking with her hair. And I understand nervous tics. I understand, you do things because you were trying to distract yourself from the fact that this is awkward or what, but I've been live streaming enough where I don't do those things. I don't fall into that kind of pattern. And someone that's a professional actor, and again, I use the term professional actor very loosely there, but somebody that, they make money doing this, you would think that they would have more screen presence. You know what I mean? It's like, aren't you on camera all the time? What the fuck is wrong with you?
I know why.
I want to just real quick before we get the side here. I want to roll through a list of basically every movie that this chick has been in up to this very moment, and none of them are very good. But she got her claim to fame. If you remember, she was Rue in the very first Hunger Games movie. So you got to go back to like 2012, like for that movie. So if you a big fan of the Hunger Games, that's probably where you remember her from the most. And then a few years later, she was in a movie called Everything, Everything, which was one of the worst movies that came out that year. That was absolutely horrendous. And then she was in a film called The Darkest Minds, which is a pseudo sci-fi YA movie that did not do very well either. That one bombed pretty harshly. Then she was in her pseudo Black Lives Matter movie, The Hate You Give, the one that Rob was talking about there. Another one that was terrible. Did complete butt ass. And then she was in a movie called Where the Hands Touch, where apparently she was a black teenager under the threat of Nazis, and that was a thing that happened back in the day. And Nazis weren't sure. She was a 16-year-old girl trying to survive Nazi Germany during World War II, and she just so happened to be biracial. So
time travel.
Who knows? It's dumb. Then she was in a movie called Dear Evan Hansen, which was a musical that was another one of the worst movies that came out that year. That was absolutely horrific.
Yep.
Yeah.
Then she was in the movie called Bodies, Bodies, Bodies. If you guys remember that one, that was my second worst movie of the entire year as well. And basically, it was whole thing was like, oh, it's Gen Z and we're lesbians, and Pete Davidson's here for some weird reason.
Yeah. And he's a lesbian.
Ba-doom boom, ba-doom boom. And then she was in some horror movie called My Animal, which I believe was only released in Canada because it was a big giant.
They deserve it.
Of ass. So outside of that, and a couple of I guess appearances on the RuPaul's Drag Race, her whole career accumulated in the Acolyte, which ended up getting canceled after one season. Very quickly after that one season too. So didn't even give her a chance to do a second one. So
what they should do? They should team up Amanda, what's her name? Stenberg, Amandla Stenberg with Justice Smith. That would be like the perfect.
Oh, and an After Earth sequel.
Yes, there you go. That is peak
That'd be
cinema.
Great. Yep.
What are we supposed to do with two sexless morons? I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Can we
throw
save
them
our
into
civilization?
deep space? Exactly.
They will be the new Adam and Eve.
Right. Perfect. Yeah, and the whole Earth has evolved to eat them, but the animals won't even eat them because they're so ugly.
I will say that I was listening to all of this on my way here.
I'm sorry.
And I'm just amazed. On the positive, we have heard Kamala Harris's inaugural address. This is what it will sound like when she's sworn in as president, because it's incoherent. I don't know what point she was making.
She's not going to be able to say "I'm talking."
You imagine an Oval Office address with the smoke alarm reminder going off. Can you imagine the White House address with one of those? That'd be great.
Yeah, I know. I think Dear Uncle Joe is actually more coherent than what we just heard there. What is she upset about? That her show got canceled? There are many shows that get canceled.
Well, she said she wasn't surprised by that, though, Rick. So she's not upset.
Well, if she wasn't, why was she not surprised? Did she actually? Well, I guess she read the scripts. There was nothing that appealed. Hope. There was nothing. I mean, but think about it. How bad must this show have been to get Disney to cancel it? I mean, they were ones that just plunged money into all sorts of garbage, and they said no, we're not going to plunge more into a second season. She didn't draw in the audiences, and I don't know if she's bitter about it, but this is the risk every actor takes when they accept a role. It doesn't mean that you're going to be a successful show, but she can always be the poet laureate,
right?
That could be her new career.
Yeah. But the reason why women, when they want to like talk down about a situation, to look down on that while they're doing their hair or their nails or whatever, it is the superiority that I am too busy to directly give you my attention, to look directly into the camera and explain to you what's going on. I am going to do my hair because I am too busy for your stupid crap, mister. And that is what it is. That's all it is. It's a superiority move to demonstrate to you that they don't care, but they really do, but they don't.
Yeah, I do this all the time on Twitter. It's great.
Yep.
Oh, I thought you said you were going to do this with your hair.
No. I all the, like, you know, it's not it's not addressing the point that's being made. It's like just staying on the thing that you originally said, just to be an obnoxious asshole and to be like, I'm not even going to address what you just said.
Amandla Stenberg.
But to be fair, I will never do that to somebody in person unless it's my live-in girlfriend. But no, in all seriousness, it's just like,
it's fair.
Yeah, it's not anything to take seriously. Or with intellectual honesty, it's like, okay, you're literally avoiding the topic.
If she had an agent, the agent should have messaged her immediately after that got posted and said, delete that, and say, I was hi guys, that was really dumb. The Acolyte was a great show.
Can you cut that? Can you cut that down to whatever you just said to, like, I don't know, 90 seconds and then be done with it? Because, like,
just delete it all together, honey. Just delete it all together.
A simple, I'm disappointed for the fans that we have, and we wanted to tell more stories. Create your own stories based on these marvelous characters of the lesbian space witches, your own fan fiction. That would have been fine, but her kind of rambling.
She just did a video that says, "I don't care, check cleared." And you do like the Dave Chappelle Tyrone Biggums dance in front of the camera, and that would have been it.
Well, is she going to say, it's like, hey, look, I got Chase, I got the Chase bank account here, so I'm not worried.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry,
the way
Orange.
that I see all this is, and no, it's all right, man. The way I see this is, she went on there with all intent of narcissistic bitching, basically saying it's the fans' fault, and they love to say that it was a vocal minority of fans who got the Acolyte canceled, and it was all due to racism and bigotry. Now, folks, there were a few people who are like that. I do not discount that there are a couple fucking assholes out there that will say shit like that. That is, or to deny that they exist is asinine. But the fact of the matter is, they did a fucking petition that announced that, hey, how you doing, Kenny? That they have 80,000 signatures. Yes. Well, congratulations. I am so happy you did that, because now you numbered yourselves. You let us know just how many of you there are. And you love to call us the vocal minority. Well, it turns out that Star Wars fans number 1 billion plus. We weren't a vocal minority. We were a vocal majority. We rejected the show. It got canceled because it didn't have any good ROI, return on investment. And y'all bitched about it, saying, oh, these people got the Acolyte canceled. Motherfuckers, a lot of us hate watched it so that we could look at it objectively. We added to the numbers. If we didn't watch it, guess what? You would have had fewer numbers. I love their fucking logic, folks, because they're saying, oh, if these people wouldn't have watched it, it would have been successful. No, it wouldn't have, because you're an idiot and you don't know how to do math. But you know what? Keep saying all that shit. You want to know why? Because then you're just proving our point that you shouldn't be in charge of Star Wars. You people are the reason why we need fucking gatekeepers. There is a legitimacy for gatekeeping nowadays when it comes to Tolkien, when it comes to Star Wars, when it comes to any real hard fandom or popular fandom, because these people want to come in and they only want to scream about this, that, and whatnot. I'm the Star Wars fan of this group, folks, or of this panel, so I can actually speak to this stuff. And
at this point, I would say guard your fandoms like the government guards Area 51. Anyone who gets close, shoot on sight.
Exactly.
That's the only way they're going to learn it.
Unless they actually, unless they know it right. But I mean, folks, the way that she addressed this, she went after fans just like she did in her fucking ghetto horror track that she did. I mean, if you watch that on mute, it looks like she is trying to summon a baby daddy in the middle of the hood. Mm-hmm. I mean, she looks like
it looked like it looked like Rosie Perez in the beginning of Do the Right Thing, but that's a whole other comment.
Not only that, Amandla Stenberg's diss track, folks, directly resulted in a lot of the people walking away from the show. That was confirmed by a Disney insider. Her diss track going after fans hurt her show.
That was before the show actually finished airing. She couldn't even wait till the show to come out.
It was like after the third episode or the second episode or third episode, she releases it, and it's like, all right, you don't want to, fuck you then. I mean, I've been saying this for a while, folks, because of news with the Accolade cancellation and stuff, and all these people blaming fans and whatnot. You're gonna get what you want, but the question is, are you gonna want what you get? You created an undesirable, or you created a situation or a scenario in which the result you want is an undesired result. You wanted people to stop watching the show. Congratulations, you got what you wanted. The show's canceled because we stopped watching it, and it didn't have all the ratings. And then you want to go at us saying that we somehow got it canceled when no. Why didn't you guys step up and watch the fucking show? Oh, right, there's only 80,000 of you. You created your own foil, and now you got to freaking reap it. You got to reap it.
Well,
I want one, baby.
So here's what the check cleared thing. So she says check cleared, and then breaks into this dance right here.
Oh boy.
Oh dear Lord.
Yeah, check cleared. I love this. This is my favorite thing to come out of Minecraft memes. And we're done.
But I reject the idea that the fans got this show canceled.
Technically they did because none of them watched it.
Yes, but the idea that people who complained about the show, that they forced it off the air, that I think that's just an absurd idea. It says that because you have no spine. It says that the people who produced this show were caved real quick to people who are all these millions of toxic fans. Look,
well, not only that, just real quick, if one thing that we know about modern day Disney in 2024 is that they definitely listen to the opinion of right-wing incels, right? That's exactly the people who they listen to when they're creating their talent.
It's an absurdity. Look, there's a Doctor Who Facebook page that I'm a part of, and you've got people on the right, you've got Bernie Bros, and they're all united in their loathing for what the showrunners have done to that show. It's not political. I'm sure there are people on the left who don't really care for lesbian space witches, conceiving, from out of creating immaculate conceptions
from the ether of evil, creating children who just so happens to be brown.
And that doesn't show. That's not a positive sign. I mean, are you suggesting that minorities are evil and non-minorities are good?
It's literally like one step away from like Mormon propaganda.
Okay, but do you remember the guy that was in the internals or whatever? He was complaining about the fact that, being Asian, being black, being whatever, gay, a gay actor. It's like, we want to play the villains too. We want to, and I can understand some of that argument.
Kumail Nanjiani.
Yeah, the guy from Stuber.
Some of that argument, because actors in general, want to act. They want to play, the bad guy. They want to play the lead. Maybe not supporting if it means less money. But it's like there is a desire to change it up. And I've heard a lot of actors say, hey, I want to play the villainous role. I want to play the more, you want to go there, interesting kind of, gray moral, if not just straight up evil, because a good villain never thinks that they're evil.
Exactly.
I mean, maybe if you're Satan or something, you know what I mean? Maybe a blatant
with exception
sort of...
to Tolkien's work.
Sure. No. And when you have a more black and white sort of worldview or antagonist, protagonist, I think that's definitely the case. But I can understand it, but it's the execution, the results, which is like, okay, you're just trying to subvert what Star Wars inherently is. And we've seen this in other properties, make the bad guy good and good guy bad. It's so blatant and it's so obvious. The thing I will say just in addition here is that Disney on all sides, I don't care who it is, ESPN, Star Wars, Marvel, I mean, they're falling apart. It's like they're blatantly trying to alienate their audience, and which makes no sense. You see all these other corporate companies basically saying, we're done with DEI. It didn't work. We don't, we'll have our initiatives or whatever, but this stuff largely has been, we've kind of heard back from people and they don't like it. It alienates people. We don't want that. It ultimately gives us a smaller customer base, et cetera, et cetera. And it's just like, okay. So I think that we can see the writing on the wall at this point, that ideology, politics, all this stuff does not work in entertainment. You know why? Because you can't beat people over the head with ideology without having some kind of creative insight or interesting place you go. So it's just not working.
I'll wrap it up with this one. If you go to Amandla's Wikipedia page, it literally just like preaches like something out of Kiwi Farms. That's not exactly a good thing. You go here, it talks about, Stenberg came out as bisexual in 2016, and she uses she, her, they, them pronouns. And then in March of that year, she came out as non-binary, and then she also came out as gay, and she's also part of the Me Too movement, and she's blah 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 blah. And then he goes on to say she's also an intersexual feminist who's outspoken in her political views, and it's just like you can't be all the things. Like you're trying to be all the things, but you can't be all the things. It's like then she's like, she's also on the side of Palestine, and she's calling for a ceasefire and the issue at the Gaza Strip, and then she released a diss track called Discord. Well, she interviewed like, oh my god, it's like this is the whole reason why they hired this woman in the first place. Like I said, she has never been in anything good ever. Her entire career, all of it, look at her entire filmography, is trash. But because she checked all these boxes of intersexual garbage, this is why she even has what could be even described as a career at this point. And I'll ask your Neozoic question real quick. You think that Disney will sell Star Wars or put it in public domain? I don't know what they're going to do with Star Wars. Nothing's going to happen with Disney and Star Wars till Kathleen Kennedy's gone. And it looks like she's going to drop dead of a heart attack before she ever steps down or gets fired at this point. So Star Wars is dead. Yeah, Star Wars is dead. Yeah, it's dead in Minecraft too. So put it out there. He's all this like, bro, she's this, she's that. Exactly. It's like you can't be all the things. So stop trying to be all the things, you freaking weirdo.
Well, she's part of the Me Too movement.
Yeah, she has alleged that some.
So she's part of the group that made a name for themselves on false accusations of rape that ruined men's lives. Fuck that bitch.
Well, she's involved in a whole bunch of things.
The only thing that she's not is an actress, because where did you actually list like acting? I mean, it's just all her political stance. Why just drop acting and run for Congress or run for governor or senator or what have you?
Get a job at Sweet Baby Inc.
Mm-hmm.
So.
These people are all weirdos. So speaking of weirdos, let's get over to our good buddy Sheryl Swoopes, who is literally having a meltdown on social media right now as we speak. So we've got to rewind this a little bit to figure out how exactly we got to this very moment. As you know, if you guys have been listening to the show long enough, we've been documenting the hate in the WNBA about Cailin Clark. Long story short, she's a white girl who's really, really good from Iowa, who's now in the WNBA playing for the Indiana Fever. And black women, specifically the gay ones, really, really cannot stand this girl. So Sheryl Swoopes started this like a year ago, actually, because if you remember, Cailin Clark was closing in on the all-time record for most points scored in basketball, period, women's and men's. And Sheryl Swoopes went out there and basically made up a whole bunch of lies saying that, she only broke the record because she was in school for 5 years and she's 22, she's way older than everyone, making up just a whole bunch of like things that were proven false, like objectively false, and people called her out on it. Then she came out about a week or two later talking about, people were saying that, I'm hating on her because she's white. It's like, first of all, black people can't be racist, so that's false. And then everyone got onto her about that. And then over the course of the last several months, she's made her disdain for Cailin Clark more noticeable as time has gone on here. This is actually just from a week ago. Let me play this just real quick. This is from a week ago. She's commentating a game with the it wasn't the Indiana Fever, but it was between Dallas and Las Vegas. And they made a note that, hey, Cailin Clark just happens to be the WNBA Player of the Week, and she's commentating on this game. And when they're mentioning Cailin Clark, she decides to go radio silence because she had absolutely nothing positive to say about her whatsoever. Here's the clip of that game, just in case you can see it.
Both of them had outstanding weeks, and they're the next two opponents to the Wings. Cailin Clark will be here on Sunday for the week, averaged 25, and Avisa Collier averaged over 25. And of course, the Lynx here Friday at 6:30 on Ion. And then the Fever come here at 3 o'clock before a sellout crowd.
Saying nothing. Her whole job is to commentate.
They had the hardest remaining schedule.
So when this went viral and this started circling around, she also had a little podcast where she decided to get the heat off of herself by saying that, oh no, I'm not a hater of the Indiana Fever. And she went on this whole thing, diatribe, giving credit to literally every player on the Indiana Fever except for Cailin Clark. And then it got to the point where even Stephen A. Smith, Mr. Stephen A. Smith, who is no stranger to race baiting and hustling when it conveniently suits him as well, even he had to call out Sheryl Swoopes on the fact that she refuses to say anything positive about Cailin Clark in any aspect whatsoever. Here's what led to this downward spiral here. I'll just play a little bit of this.
I cold open, but I'm going to mention it now, and that's Cailin Clark herself of the WNBA. Let's get to the WNBA and this sensational rookie from the Indiana Fever who continues to be box office. Clark and the Fever currently lead the WNBA in average game attendance and per game TV viewership. But despite the attendance and viewership records, there seems to be some haterade in the league in regards to Clark, starting with WNBA legend Sheryl Swoopes herself. She recently spoke on her podcast, Queens of the Court, and didn't mention the rookie when speaking of Indiana's rise in the standings. Here's what Sheryl Swoopes had to say. Look at this quote here. I think the Olympic break really helped Indiana. I'm going to shout out to Lexi Hull. I'm a big Lexi Hull fan. Lexi Hull shot the leather off the ball in their game against Seattle. Kelsey Mitchell is just stroking. She's just shooting the basketball. Aaliyah Boston, almost a triple-double. If Indiana continues to play the way they're playing like this, they too are going to move up in the standings, end quote. So no, Cailin Clark. Sheryl Swoopes. No, Cailin Clark. Respectfully, Sheryl Swoopes, you have any idea how that makes you look? You have any idea how that serves to stain any kind of critique of Cailin Clark, because that gives fodder to those who believe she's being hated on and ostracized to some degree? Do you realize that, Sheryl Swoopes, you're insane to do that? Let me tell you why you're insane to do that. Because Sheryl Swoopes, you're one of the greatest players ever in the history of basketball. That's why. See, you won a championship in college at Texas Tech. You won 3 Olympic gold medals. You won 4 WNBA championships. You know basketball. You know basketball better than me. You know basketball than any of the pundits. You know basketball better than most of the men that play basketball. There is no way in hell you just accidentally left Cailin Clark's name out of that soliloquy that you dropped about the Indiana Fever. Stop it.
So notice here, he tried to become as most respectable as he possibly could, as Sheryl Swoopes, saying that, you know what, not a good look. Well, Sheryl Swoopes decided to come after Stephen A. Smith and called him out for hypocrisy and refused to come on his show to talk about it. So Stephen A. did another show later on, basically commenting on the recent comments that she's made over him, regarding him specifically, and things only got worse from there.
Now, she made news last week when she sat up there and was applauding Indiana Fever players, but then forgot to mention Cailin Clark. She jumped all in my ass because I sat up there and said, hey, how you going to ignore Cailin Clark? You know what she brings to the table. How you just going to ignore her? That's not an accident. Sheryl Swoopes is a champion. A champion. Look at her tweet and what she put up about me. You talk about whomever and whatever you want to on your podcast, correct? So why can't I? Also, did you listen to the entire episode? Nope. I have a personal relationship with these players, and they deserve recognition as well. That ain't the point, Sheryl Swoopes. Yes, I did listen to your entire podcast. You didn't mention Cailin Clark. So I was right, number one. Number two, your personal relationship, what that got to do with your coverage? Ain't nobody said don't mention them. Ain't nobody said don't applaud them. Nobody told you to ignore them. What we're saying is if you're going to give the Indiana Fever all the credit in the world, how you going to mention the Indiana Fever without Cailin Clark's name even coming up? So then after that, Sheryl Swoopes engages in levels of immaturity. There's no way to slice it. I'm not going to insult this champion, this great basketball mind, this phenomenally accomplished.
And this is the thing that bothers me too, is that he's still trying to like give her credit while she's just like completely dogging him out on social media. At a certain point, you got to be like, hey, look, if this is how you're going to act, and this is how I'm going to come after you, right? But he's still trying to be. Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what it is. It's cover, because what's going to happen is that, you know, they don't want to say, well, look, I don't want to make it seem like that I hate black women or anything like that. And that's all he's really doing, is providing some cover for himself when he really comes after and say, hey, look, you're acting like an unprofessional goon. That's what you're doing right now. And everyone sees it. So maybe stop. But as you say, Sheryl Swoopes did not listen to anyone. She didn't listen to a single person. So then here's what happened. She was supposed to cover the Indiana Fever game on Sunday. They were playing on Sunday night, and Sheryl Swoopes was supposed to be commentating at that game. Everyone knew it. It was being reported up until the hour the game started. Then all of a sudden, Nancy Lieberman here is the one who replaces Sheryl Swoopes. Sheryl Swoopes is not commentating the game. So everyone was like, okay, well, what happened? Did she refuse to commentate the game? Did the WNBA say that, hey, you know what, we're going to have somebody else commentate for you? What's going on here? So then Sheryl Swoopes, Nancy Lieberman goes on Stephen A. Smith's show to explain what's going on here between you and Swoopes. Like, why did you replace her in the game? What's your relationship? And she basically let everyone else know that Sheryl Swoopes apparently has stopped talking to Nancy Lieberman for several months, because when she made those false claims about Cailin Clark last year, she privately tried to correct her, saying that, hey, you know, you shouldn't say things that are nobly false. You should apologize for it so that you can still have credibility as a commentator. And then basically Sheryl Swoopes just completely cut her off. Here's her side of the story here.
I've known Sheryl since she was in college. I helped do her shoe deal with Nike in 1993, took her to her first ESPYs. I've known Sheryl, I've coached her, have a lot of respect for her. I called her when Cailin was still playing at Iowa, and she had just broken Maravich's record. And it was all over the place, as you and I have discussed, that, you know, there was this quote by Sheryl that said, you know, Cailin was, you know, 25 years old. She was, however old, 24 years old. She was a fifth-year senior. Right. She was taking 40 shots a game. Her records were illegitimate. And I got off the treadmill and I called her as a friend. And I said, you know, you can say whatever you want. You can have your own opinion about anybody, but you do have to get the statistics right. I mean, facts matter. And if you just get ahead of this and just say, hey, I made a mistake on my numbers, then this thing is over and everybody respects you for your opinion. And, you know, you might like Boston. I might like the Yankees. You know, it's okay to have difference of opinions. Well, she got upset with me on the phone. And I was like, Sheryl, you know, I'm not doing anything to hurt you. I'm just sharing. We're talking. And so our relationship it pretty much is not happening at this point. I tried to talk to her at the Final Four. Right. She didn't want to talk to me. My life's going to be good or great with or without Sheryl Swoopes in my life. I'd rather have her in it.
And there you go. So how does Sheryl Swoopes respond to this? Well, she responded to the clip that I just played by saying this. Now, here you go. And I try to get, I get what you're trying to do with your boy, Stephen A. Smith, but it ain't working. You know good and well what happened. And ditto, my life is good without you and him too. You want to go there? Question mark. And then to further show how completely off the range she is, to try to essentially defend the fact that she's not a complete Cailin Clark hater, she went on to post several private text messages between her and Cailin Clark, apologizing apparently back in February between her and Cailin, which I'm pretty sure Cailin probably doesn't appreciate. You know, someone's DMs being publicly used as father to be like, see, I don't hate this person, despite everything that I've said about them, despite the fact that I can't say anything positive about this person on television, and the fact that I somehow got pulled out of the game last minute that I was supposed to call. She claims that she was never supposed to call that game, even though everyone knows that to be a lie. By the way, she also then tried to claim that Nancy Lieberman lied about, you know, not mentioning her comments in the past about one of the rival players on Chicago. She actually did mention that in the video that in the podcast, I should say, that she quote tweeted. So she's just spiraling in a whole bunch of lies. And then she went and did a Twitter Spaces thing earlier today, which she spent the entire day going after Stephen A. Smith, going after Nancy Lieberman. It was basically a room full of black women literally trying to take a bullet for their black queen, who just so happens to have the African monarch here in her Twitter bio as well, saying that royalty is in my heritage. She's talking about black women, and everyone is saying how this is a terrible look for Sheryl Swoopes, how it's unprofessional. Her going after her co-workers is unprofessional. Her refusing to say anything positive about Cailin Clark is also unprofessional. And here's how the way she's tried to frame it. This is what a lot of haters of Cailin Clark try to frame, and then I'll go to you guys here. Is that she's trying to frame is that she doesn't want to spend all the time talking about Cailin Clark, because in her estimation, there's other players that deserve recognition too. And the reason why she's mad at Stephen A. Smith, and she's not the only black woman who has come out with Stephen A. Smith because of this, is like, well, you were the #1 show on ESPN for all these years, but you never talked about the WNBA before Cailin Clark came around. So technically, it's your fault, because the WNBA didn't need saving. We were already good as it is. We needed promotion, and you didn't give us the promotion and whatnot. So they're trying to blame him for the fact that now only people are talking about the WNBA now that Cailin Clark is there. She's the one that's setting the attendance records, the ratings records, and all this stuff. And as I've said many, many times before, apparently they need to hear it again. The reason why no one was talking about the WNBA before Cailin Clark is no one wants to watch ugly lesbians play bad basketball. And I hate to say this, like, maybe somebody needs to like chisel this into your brains. This is the reason why no one cared about the WNBA until 4 months ago, and you guys are like fighting tooth and nail. Like you're sitting on like in a sea where you have no paddle, you have no raft, no lifeboat, and you're literally drowning instead of just accepting what the reality of the situation here is. So Rob, you're more the sports guy here. I'm going to start this one off of you. I know that was kind of a deep dig, but that's kind of explain to you how we got to this point. What is your take on the latest round of we hate Cailin Clark because she's white and she's making us all look bad in the WNBA?
Yeah, some of this, kind of reading what Sheryl Swoopes has said, because I really haven't been paying attention to what she said. I saw that video where she didn't say anything to the play-by-play guy about, the two opponents coming up, one of them being, Cailin Clark and the Indiana Fever. But I mean, there's so many ways to look at this. I mean, I deal with, just from my own personal perspective, I deal with stuff like this on Twitter a lot of the time when I'm debating certain things where objective reality, objective truth, facts, people don't want to acknowledge them. They want to live in whatever echo chamber or fantasy world they've concocted where they believe their lineage goes back to kings. And that's where that whole we was Kangs thing comes from.
Woman king.
It's like, but I mock those people because it's like, listen, we're all human beings. Most of us don't come from, and most of us, I mean like literally 99.9% of us don't come from royalty. And we have to humble ourselves and work hard and achieve things, we might never get to, because guess what? The world's competitive and that's just how it goes. That's we all come to that conclusion if we're not mentally ill. But Sheryl Swoopes apparently just doesn't want to acknowledge that. Even the pushback that she gave Stephen A. Smith, doesn't line up with what she said. It doesn't even, and so it's like there is some weird angst in, atmosphere or environment that not only Sheryl Swoopes, but a lot of WNBA people resent the fact that now the money's rolling in. Now the viewers are coming in. You know why? Because you have somebody that's worth watching. That's the whole thing. You couldn't have elevated the WNBA back in the late 90s or the 2000s. The NBA was fantastic back then, but like the WNBA, nobody gave a shit about. They didn't have a star. They didn't have a way to market it to people and say, "Hey, this is actually worth watching. Hey, this is a product that you'll be interested in." No, because it wasn't. And so now that Cailin Clark, I think that they're doing a good job in terms of trying to market their star, trying to put her in the forefront. The Indiana Fever, by the way, weren't supposed to be competitive this year. She's a rookie. And she has them in the playoff, literally in a playoff seeding right now at the 7th seed. So what more do you want for your sport? What more could you ask for? It's like, you should be grateful. You should be on your fucking knees to somebody like Cailin Clark because you're getting more notice, Sheryl Swoopes. People actually know who you are. So maybe just take the W. Just shut the fuck up. Stop pushing your resentment. Stop pushing your entitlement. I was here first. Yeah, and nobody gave a shit. So how about you just take the money and shut the fuck up?
Mm-hmm. I put this out here too. I want you guys to understand, before this season, before they started getting these rights deals that are all thanks to Cailin Clark, these women were flying Spirit Airlines. They did not have private flights. They were flying Spirit Airlines just a year ago, calendar year. And they hate this woman so much because, she's bringing in all this attention. Well, what about me? It's like, what about you? What about you? I played this one here too because Shannon Sharp's another one who's been calling these people out for several months now. It's like, stop it.
That trash.
Y'all stop this foolishness. Y'all see the woman speed up. Y'all see her. Cailin Clark is getting the crowd and going. Y'all see Skylar Diggins speed up to make contact with her. Stop this. Y'all mad because that corn-fed Iowa girl busting y'all ass. Y'all said she too weak. She can't do this. She lead the WNBA in assists. She cooking. Let her cook. Let her cook.
That trash.
Y'all stop this foolishness.
Yeah, that's basically what I was saying there. It's like, and you wonder why this league hasn't been successful up until this year. It's because you got a bunch of bitter, angry lesbians with a crab in the bucket mentality who's been running this thing while it's been subsidized by the men's league for the last 30 years. But keep in mind, because if it wasn't for the actual NBA, this league would have folded in 1996 like it should have. But it's like, it's just infuriating, and you think that after a while they'll be like, okay, hey, look, there is some benefit here to this white girl being in the league. She is bringing attention. Let's try to utilize this. We may not like her, but let's try to utilize this to prop up ourselves. Let's try to ride this wave or get the rub or something like that. And it's like, they haven't learned a thing. They're still doubling down on this whole thing. And it's just, it's mind-blowing how it just showing with Star Wars earlier, how just completely anti-business mindset these people are, but they don't understand it. They literally have a golden goose that you won't see in this league for probably another 30 years after she's done, and you're not taking any advantage of it. You're doing more to potentially run her and the fan base that have come in to watch your stupid league off than actually embracing and bringing them in to be like, hey, if you guys like Cailin Clark, here's some other stars you guys could like too. It's like, no, you're trying to go the other way of this. It's so mind-blowingly stupid. Pants on head retarded, as our good buddy Zero Punctuation used to say back in the day. But Cider, you have any thoughts on the women's basketball drama?
No.
Not a single one.
not even a little bit. You mentioned that to me, and I hear that's that monkey with the clacking little
symbols.
Yeah, the symbols. That's all. That's it. I got nothing. You say Cailin Clark, it's just white noise in here. Like, is that a sandwich?
No pun intended.
This is why women shouldn't run nations. This is why the Bible actually says that women leaders actually have judgment on a nation, because they're watching, like I said, these teams are literally playing in 20,000 seat arenas because of Cailin Clark, and their object reaction is anger and jealousy. Like, this is where we're at now.
Well, I mean, first off, we are going to get a female president in a few hours. Second,
hours.
Yeah, the election's over now. I think
it's November already.
Yeah, whatever month it is.
Holy shit! What's in this weed?
You know it's 500.
Cider took one puff. It is like you just fast forward 2 months in the future.
Right? It's like that kid that put on the sweater, right? All I gotta do is just have a couple of doobies and I'm time traveling, man. Who needs a DeLorean?
What happened to the last 2 months? Did I feed my dog?
Hey, Cider, look.
I have a dog now?
Right.
Yeah. I'll say that it does come, I think, from a sense of a mixture of jealousy and entitlement. I don't know who Sheryl Swoopes is. Apparently she's in the Hall of Fame, which is news to me. It comes from a sense of, it should have been me. I should have been the one. I should have been the legend. I should be the one that should be worshipped and adored, not this skinny white girl. And there is a sense that, they only like her because she's white. Ergo, they don't like me because I'm black. Or I don't know if she's a lesbian. I don't care if she's a lesbian. There is this sense of resentment, this sense of entitlement, and also the sense of this person is invading, quote, our space. It's like, when people are now creating those safe spaces and they are encouraging segregated graduations and segregated rooms now, because apparently after 60 years of integration, they're thinking, we're still oppressed. Maybe this is my sense as someone who does not know anything about basketball, either NBA or WNBA. And well, no, that's not true. I've been to 2 Dallas Mavericks games, so at least I know who that.
Doncic.
I know who that guy is, even though I had to ask how to pronounce his name. So I'll just say this: it sounds like it comes from a sense of deep resentment and entitlement, bitterness, maybe racism, because she thinks, it's because she's white, not because she's talented, not because she's a good basketball player, but because she's white. I don't know. Yes, I do. I do want to become an WNBA legend. Although it's hard.
If you put a wig on, you might average at least 5 points right now. I mean, it's not that good.
Well, I don't know. At 5'7", it's hard for me to be an NBA or even a WNBA legend. It's just for me as an outsider. It seems to
Rick,
come
you're
from
selling yourself short.
Yeah, how tall is Muggsy Bogues?
I have no idea.
It's like 5'4", 5'3", something like that.
So, again, it really
isn't Dennis Rodman a lawn gnome?
No, Dennis Rodman was very tall.
Dennis Rodman is spending all his free time hanging out with
6'11".
Kim Jong-un. Okay, he's out there.
Who was the really tiny guy?
That
was Muggsy Bogues.
He was in Space Jam.
Yeah, I thought that was Dennis Rodman with the goofy.
No, Dennis Rodman has multicolored hair and
how high
big,
are
like,
you,
hoop
Cider?
earrings.
I thought he was really
he's
short.
Like at least 6'10".
At this moment, Cider.
Oh, sorry, I thought he was
Dennis
really
Rodman.
short.
Dennis Rodman teamed up with Hollywood Hulk Hogan. They're in Bass at the Beach. It's to place Karl Malone and Diamond Dallas Page.
All my life, I have thought Dennis Rodman and Rey Mysterio were like the same height. I'm sorry.
No.
I thought he was the guy with the multicolored hair.
Muggsy Bogues is 5'3", and Dennis Rodman is 6'8".
So like,
you're way off.
Kim Jong-un on his shoulders around North Korea. It's like,
you think that Carmen Electra would date a man that was 5'5"?
I don't know.
Well, I mean, who
it was
knows?
a different time, dude.
Sure, there's a lot of dudes who slept with Carmen Electra. That's probably not the great metric.
I never slept
or
with
Orange
Carmen
Hat.
Electra, just for the record.
Yes, the Cailin Clark thing. Honestly, with Sheryl Swoopes, she's jealous. When it comes right down to it, she is jealous because Cailin Clark beat all her fucking records like it was nothing. She beat him like a fucking drum. And the fact that this woman is flabby and beyond her heyday, she can only look back and reflect upon her greatness, which is now no longer great because Cailin Clark fucking destroyed her records like they were nothing. Like a bitch. But yeah.
Beat him like a runaway slave.
You said it. Not
you can
me.
say that.
but the fact of the matter is, it's like you guys don't get it. You should be fucking thanking this woman. You should be on your fucking knees thanking this woman for bringing back any sort of relevancy to the WNBA. Cailin Clark. I am a person who has not watched sports for over 24 fucking years. We're in 2024 still, yeah. 24 fucking years because I just lost interest. Then this kid from college comes into the WNBA. And they're asking her all these buzz questions with these buzzwords and shit. She's like, I just want to play basketball. And I'm like, what'd you just say? And I started paying attention to her. And then I realized, holy shit, this kid's actually pretty fucking good at basketball. I have not paid attention to sports in over 24 years. And yet this kid who actually has passion for the game, who doesn't really give a fuck about all the glory and shit. Yes, she has the sponsors. Yes, she has the stuff. But she takes time out of the game to fucking sign shirts, to fucking sign posters and all that shit. This woman is a genuinely nice person. And people fucking hate her. And she's also come out and said, me and Angel don't really hate each other. She doesn't hate me. We actually got along great. Look at us when we kicked the shit out of Team USA. And if Sheryl Swoopes is coming out with private fucking DMs when Cailin Clark has admitted she doesn't have an online profile to follow, only fans follow, or only fans that create shit to follow her do have that.
Mm-hmm.
How the fuck would she know unless somebody fucking tells her, look, your private fucking DMs just got shared by Sheryl Swoopes. What do you think about that? Well, I kind of think that was a dick move, but yeah. Sheryl Swoopes has a very big stick up her ass because she is just jealous that a genuinely good person came into the WNBA without any real fucking ego or ambition and just destroyed her fucking records that she set. And then she goes on and turns a team, as Rob said, that wasn't really making any sort of a splash in the WNBA. They're now a fucking playoff team, apparently. So, yeah, great on Cailin Clark. Sheryl Swoopes needs to fucking learn a lesson and maybe have a little humility. Look, just because Cailin Clark destroyed your records does not mean that you are any less of what you are. It doesn't mean you weren't a legendary WNBA basketball player, as they call you. You still have that status. You still played the games the way that you did. You still have those achievements. It's just that somebody later on in life came along and did a little bit better. Suck it up. That's life. That's what happens. You want the next generation to ascend better, to be better than the previous generation. You should be fucking happy that somebody strove to match and then possibly surpass you. Because you don't want a stagnation.
And I'll say this real quick too. Like a lot of people, when it really comes down to, you notice that the people who really, really hate Cailin Clark are the same ones who are trying to prop up Angel Reese right now. Even though Angel Reese is objectively awful, like she's shooting like 23% from like under the ring.
Here's the thing: she's awful for somebody who is propped up as a quote unquote superstar. She is, if this was the NBA, she would be a dime a dozen. She's a tall bitch who can rebound, and the majority of her shots come at the rim. You know what I mean? You know how many
if she was in the NBA,
right? She was in the NBA. Dudes exist like that. Greg Oden, like, you know what I mean? It's like they were flash in the pan.
If she was in the NBA, they'd be sitting her ass at the Wonton Tigers over there in China right now. That's where she'd be playing. But
do you remember Kwame Brown? Kwame Brown put up better numbers than her, and he got ran out of the league because he had no shot. But it's like he could still rebound and he can dunk.
Remember Slava Medvedenko? Remember that name?
Yeah. Yes.
Well, here's the thing.
Greg Ostertag.
Another thing about Cailin Clark is when they shafted her for Team USA, and I'm glad they did because Team USA won gold. So what now? But she basically said, you know what? It just gives me something to better myself for. And then another thing, they showed her stats before they shafted her, which was down here, about average. After they shafted her, she jumped up in stats like a freaking Eiffel Tower. And then when people are saying, oh, well, or then when now, because this woman is doing so well, they're trying to, or the fucking refs have a problem with this girl. They're actually trying to get her kicked out of the fucking WNBA by giving her technical foul after technical foul. And it's like, are you out of your fucking mind? Do you guys realize if you fuck with this woman, you fuck with the WNBA's visual stats, the ratings and whatnot. And if Angel Reese wins Rookie of the Year, which I believe that is coming up sometime that they're going to announce sometime soon. If she wins Rookie of the Year, I guarantee you people are done with the WNBA. It's like you fucking shafted her for Team USA. You fucking shafted her, which only made her a better player. And then you fucking chose a very mediocre player. No offense to Angel Reese. You're a good player, you're a good player in your own right. But when you are compared to Cailin Clark, you are the lesser player. Has nothing to do with your skin color or sexuality. Has everything to do with your stats. Cailin Clark is a better player. She deserves Rookie of the Year.
Yeah, like I said, I'll end it with I'll end this with saying this, and I don't care how many people get in trouble or here's the reality of the situation. This WNBA thing has not proven to you without a shadow of a doubt. Black women are the most hard-headed, unreasonable group on this planet. Notice how many people have privately tried to correct multiple women over the last several months, being like, hey, Lo, this isn't a good look. You know, you don't want to be perceived as one of those people. And then for them to go out publicly and be like, oh, you're trying to correct me and let me tell you how this whole, and then it goes into, oh, this is all about racism and bigotry and sexuality. It's like, you literally cannot tell them anything. And this is the problem with Sheryl Swoopes, is that people who have come in there privately, tried to like correct her, tried to save her reputation, because she's destroying her own reputation right now. And she is just turning her nose and doubling down and spiting herself every way, shape, or form as she is right now. And I wouldn't be surprised if they completely get rid of her from her commentary job. I wouldn't be surprised if now she's burned her bridge with other networks and she's going after her fellow commentators over this whole thing. Like, she is going to literally die on the hill of Cailin Clark hate, and it'll be literally no one else's fault but her own. Notice that the fact that Cailin Clark has gotten so much better over the last few weeks, that all the other black women at ESPN who are making it seem like that, oh, you guys are crazy for saying that Cailin Clark is Rookie of the Year. Look at Angel Reese. Look at Angel Reese. They can't even say look at Angel Reese anymore, because it's so clear as day that she's the better player, that they really have no argument that they can go to without making them sound like they're just completely off of it. It is, like I said, who knows? By next week, it'll probably be something else. But this whole situation doesn't seem like it's going to get any better anytime soon. But this is all that happened. All it took is one little white girl from Iowa to literally break down the entire foundation of women's basketball. And this is exactly why people hadn't been watching it for 30 years. Well, now you know.
Now,
I just want to point out,
say real quick that I don't know what you're complaining about, Jacob, because we're going to have.
If you make another joke, just stop it. Rob, go.
No, the whole thing is like, remember at the beginning of the season when they presented like, oh, there's all these great young talents, like, you know, Kelsey Plum and I don't know, that blonde Cameron Brink, is that her name?
Cameron Brink,
yeah. Yeah, and it's like Cameron Brink like tore ACL. I don't know where the fuck Kelsey Plum went. But like Cailin Clark, head and shoulders, it's like there was this hype around her, and then she actually like met the hype. Like, and exceeded it. Yeah. Like, because again, they were like, oh, it's going to take her a while to get it. And yeah, no, like it took her like a couple of months, but then like she's there at competing at the end of every game, even if they're losing. And now they're actually playing well. Now they're beating teams that are supposedly better than them. And again, the fact that I'm talking about women's basketball is fucking hilarious. I don't want to talk about it. Stop talking about it. And I mean people on social media, not you guys. It's just like, I don't want to talk about this. It's stupid, but the girl does, like, she earned her kudos. She earned the status that she's been given by the media. She's earned it. She didn't slip and fall. She's the I'm not going to say she's the best player in the league, but among this young class of players, she's doing great, and she's growing the game, which the WNBA has failed to do since their inception, since their existence. So these are all good things. So just learn to accept it. Who cares if her skin's not black? Who cares? It's like, that's what you're upset about? That somebody else is going to come along and be the quote unquote savior of the sport, and she doesn't have black skin. This is blatant. This is prima facie. This is the exact definition of, of racism and tokenism. I mean,
but
literally.
This is the thing. Look at it from this perspective too. Imagine if the NBA had treated Larry Bird like this in the 1980s. Now, I know Larry Bird did get a lot of pushback when he initially got into the league, but when they actually saw him play, all that went completely out of the window. And like, people have great respect for Larry Bird, but imagine if Larry Bird as a rookie came into the league and they were literally trying to run him out of the league. You never would have gotten any of those great Lakers, Celtics rivalries and finals in the 1980s. It's like, where would the sport of basketball be today if they had allowed that to happen?
So the way I understand it is, you don't want diversity in the WNBA. You want it to be nothing but black women. You don't want
black women, primarily lesbians. That's apparently what they want.
Well, I don't understand how you could demand diversity all over the place and just say, no, not here. Not in the WNBA. This has to be almost primarily just black with maybe some token whites. No.
Cocoa butter and carpet munching, baby. That's all we want here in this league. So,
how many Asian women exist in the WNBA?
Not a lot. Not a lot. Well, with that one, let's move on to this story here. Knives Out 3 is apparently exploding their budget for the third movie. So this one is going to go to Netflix, and Netflix is apparently going all out with this one. If you guys remember, the first Knife Out movie, which wasn't that good, came out, I believe, 2017. And let's be honest here. The only reason why people pretend like that movie was actually good is for two reasons. One is that apparently a lot of the liberals that saw it thought that they were making a mockery of Donald Trump. So they saw it as a movie attacking Trump, which is why they loved it. And then this is also coming fresh off of the Rian Johnson situation, where he literally killed Star Wars the first time around with The Last Jedi. And everyone pretended like Rian Johnson was this amazing filmmaker and this amazing director because he did The Last Jedi, and everyone, the real Star Wars fans, hated it, but all the diverse Star Wars fans pretended to love it. So this is what led to the first film being a success. The second one, I believe, got put exclusively on Netflix, or maybe like after a couple weeks it was moved to Netflix.
1 week. Yeah, 1 week release.
Yeah. And now they're going all out with a third one. By all out, which means that there's reportedly a production budget of $210 million for the third installment, which is entitled Wake Up, Dead Man, a Knives Out mystery. This film is currently slated to bring back Daniel Craig as Benoit Blanc, your private detective extraordinaire. And in this film, you're going to have Glenn Close, Josh Brolin, Mila Kunis, Jeremy Renner, Kerry Washington, Kaylee Spaney, and a couple of other people who are attached to this one right now. This is going to have a massive budget. Now, you think to yourself, how are they going to recoup that money if it's not getting a somewhat theatrical release? I don't know if they're going to do a 50-50 split here like they did with the last one, but I mean, hell, the last movie that they did only did what, 310 million was for the first one, and then because the second one was only a limited release, it only did like 15 million, so they're not getting this money off of box office receipts. It's going to be basically just be gauged on streaming numbers, which I don't know how it works with Netflix. Netflix boasts about how many people watch their stuff, yet they're still like somehow billions of dollars in debt. So it's like one of those things where the real numbers are always hidden behind closed doors and no one can actually see them. But this is going to be the plan for this next one, and I don't know why they think that. Keep in mind, the first two movies, I believe, only were budgeted at about $40 million. The last one, the first one and the last one were not massive budgets, but they're going to blow it up for this movie. I don't know. Do they think that this franchise is more popular than it actually is? Because it feels like that it's not, but that they seem to think that that's the case.
Yes.
Rick, what do you think about that?
They do think that people love the series and that they love Benoit Blanc, the world's greatest fictional detective in all human history, and his only characteristic defining characteristic is that ridiculous accent, and people just seem to love the fact that this very British band sounds like Foghorn Leghorn on crack, and they think that is the height of comic genius and the height of brilliance. The band's a moron. The detective is a moron. Remember in the second one, he never solved anything. He never actually figured anything out. It was just it just fell on his lap. First, I think we'll get a release because you do need to have a theatrical release for Oscar consideration. You do need to have a qualifying run, which I think is maybe a week or 2 weeks in several cities. And second, people just seem to have latched onto it. Maybe there's a little bit of that quote diversity element because Benoit Blanc is openly gay, the character, and so maybe people think, oh well, we finally have a gay detective. I don't know if that's important to anyone, even I don't know gay people who would care. This is not
Maybe
a
you
good...
can solve the mystery of monkeypox.
Oh my gosh, I can say no one really cares. I don't think this series is as popular. There's no reason for this movie to cost, was it $210 million?
It's actually way more than that. I actually lowballed it here because remember this. The production budget for this one is going to be $210 million. That's the production budget. You also have to remember that it was, I believe, 3 years ago when Netflix bought the right to this entire franchise. They spent a grand total of $470 million for the rights of 2 movies. The first one being The Glass Onion from a couple of years ago, and this will be the second one. So when you put in the 270 million besides the 470 and split that into 2, then you put in what they're spending on this one. You're looking at an all-in cost of $445 million that Netflix has invested in this film alone.
This is a case of people believing the hype. That
I don't think so. I think this is blatant.
Go ahead, Rob.
This is blatant malfeasance. Like this is just. I'm sorry. I've reached the point. I've reached the point now where I'm done. Like Netflix has thrown money at these productions that make, and again, they don't give out the viewing numbers. And so they can be like, it turned a profit. We don't fucking know that. I mean, they have money to burn to the point where if they're not careful, they will run out of it. Okay. Because their market share has shrinked and they're just continuing to spend money on this stuff. Apple TV is no better, except that Apple has that huge reserve of cash to fall back on. They've cut some of their TV programming, but some of the movies they have, like this Wolves movie with Clooney and Pitt that's coming out, apparently the reporting was they paid them $35 million each. I think it's more like $35 million a piece, or $35 million total, just because of what they basically said. Like, yeah, that's nowhere near accurate. But Apple has been throwing money. There's all of these examples of 200 million, 250 million, Borderlands, Furiosa, The Fall Guy, all of these failures, all of these flops. And it's like, I'm sorry, where are recouping these failures? Where are you getting this money back? Disney just did Deadpool 3, which again, okay, you just made probably $1 billion in profit on that. Maybe I'm overshooting that a little bit, but there's not much.
They hit $1 billion
sort of
in 3 weeks, so you're not.
Yeah, but there's nothing to put your hat on. To the point where it's like you keep making movies that make no profit, and not just no profit, they lose a considerable amount of money. They're failures. What is the end game here? It's short-term planning, a short-term outlook, to the point where it's like, are they planning on this collapsing at any point? Because nobody cares. Nobody. And let me just touch on Knives Out here. I hated the original. The sequel came out and I was dumbfounded that it could be worse. It was a considerably worse movie. I don't even want to imagine what a $200 million piece of shit looks like, but they're planning on making it. And granted, I do like Kaylee Spaney. She's probably one of my newer favorite actresses, but look, I don't care. You put Anna de Armas in the original, it didn't fucking matter. So, and that's the point. Is like these ensemble pieces, they're all winking at the camera. Everything that comes out of their mouth means something else in terms of pop culture reference or, but it's this navel gazing sort of content where it's not smart or insightful or referencing the private detective genre. No, you couldn't actually, try to pass on some actual knowledge. It has to be something about Elon Musk being, a drug addict or something where your political enemies are skewered on a petard. It's just like, shut the fuck up.
And by the way, that's real quick. That's the reason why I hated the second one too. Like, I hate the first one, but the second one is even worse than the first one, because I figured out like literally less than 5 minutes into the film that what's his name, Edward Norton's character was the bad guy. Because when I saw the opening scene, I was like, oh, okay, so he's Elon Musk, so that means that he's the villain, right? And I waited almost 2 hours to get to that exact conclusion I came to 5 minutes into the movie, that he was the bad guy. They weren't even attempting to be clever, like, at all. Like, people were trying to like give it credit for like, oh, the movie was so smart, and like no, it isn't. You knew exactly who the fucking person was going to be right out the gate.
And Ryan Johnson keeps failing upward. Like, he does nothing but produce shit movies. The Star Wars movie, the Knives Out movies. Like, there's, and it's like he just keeps getting another. Hey, Ryan, you want to come back and make $20 million?
Look,
I didn't see Looper, so I can't comment.
I mean, Looper was also when Bruce Willis had a functioning brain. So
Glass Onion, if you look at it, made no sense, and I'm astonished that people really thought that this was a clever detective film. I'm reminded of those Agatha Christie adaptations with Albert Finney and Peter Ustinov. They showed one of his movies for Summer of the Stars, where you had an all-star cast, and they did the same thing with the Kenneth Branagh movies, where it was an all-star cast, and but it wasn't. They weren't mocking so much of it. They were trying to make it somewhat serious, and Christie always wanted it to be more serious. With all these Knives Out movies, it's all a joke. It's not a good one, and most of the joke comes from Daniel Craig's really silly accent, and it's just getting sillier and sillier and more exaggerated because apparently that's supposed to be the funny part of it. And I hated the first one. I detested the second one. This one really is this character that popular that we need an entire franchise? I think there are some people that just latched onto this idea that, oh, this is a great detective and he's so quirky and wonderful and funny, and oh, look how clever Knives Out was, and they just double down, and now they're tripling down. But I don't see this movie being as successful. I don't think the first one was successful, was it? I mean, what was the actual intake?
If I'm not mistaken,
it did make money.
It did?
Yeah,
I think so. I mean,
I never saw any of them, so I really have nothing to say on this subject. So sorry.
The first movie made $310 million worldwide on a $40 million budget. So technically, it was a success. It wasn't like massive, but I mean, for its budget, it was a success.
So I want to point this out. I get the distinct feeling from watching clips of these movies, because I don't watch this. I don't have attention span for it. So I get the distinct feeling that these are an attempt at Mr. Moto's mysteries.
Oh gosh.
That's what stands out. It's a failed attempt, but it is an attempt to take a character who is on the surface not really capable of solving the mystery, but then coming out on top through cunning or luck, and that feels to be a Mr. Moto attempt at Mr. Moto's mysteries there. So
that's what people call me when they mispronounce my last name. But
really,
it's not Motorola, it's Motto, M-O-T, two T's.
No, anyway. now I'm gonna
like you got a personal motto.
Yeah,
right,
exactly.
Mr. Moto?
I've heard it my entire
he's
fucking
Mr.
life.
Moto. You understand me? He's Mr. Moto.
Yeah, I hate it.
Domo arigato, Mr. Moto.
No, the only good movie that I've seen
Mr.
Ryan Johnson. Yeah, that's me.
No,
No, the only movie I've seen Ryan Johnson be able to direct is his first movie, Brick, which is just a brilliant sort of take on the neo-noir. And it's just it's set at a high school, so of course people got annoyed by that, but that's a great movie. That is an absolutely great movie.
Could be beginner's luck with that.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's kind of a bit like I guess a Mr. Moto, and I go back to Hercule Poirot, because you have the accent and the somewhat quirky character. He's not too quirky. He got quirkier and sillier as the Ustinov films went on. I'm at a loss to understand why anyone would want to spend this much money on this so-called franchise when there's nothing.
Like I said, it has to be money laundering at this point, at some degree. Like I said, $445 million invested into this movie that's not even going to see any kind of like box office action. It's like there's no possible way they're going to recoup that in any way, shape, or form. Even if it's the most watched thing on Netflix that first week, it's like, how are you going to recoup $500 million back? Oh, you just can't. So this whole thing is screwed up. None of these movies are any good.
Why make it if it's not going to look?
Well, I know why they have to make it, because they already invested $470 million into the rights when they bought this thing a couple of years ago. So they have to make it.
But look, you make a movie for one of two reasons: to make art or to make money. These Knives Out movies have not done either. They're not art. And they're somewhat profitable maybe initially, but they're not well remembered. They're not good. They're not good. And if you look at it from like a logic perspective, the mystery makes absolutely no sense. At least the second one. I can't remember the first one. But I guess people thought it's fun, to have all of these famous people here and doing silly things and then having this very British guy be very ridiculous, and we all could laugh with him or at him, sometimes both. Well, no, please.
Well, speaking of movie news, we also have another Jurassic World movie, so I guess this is going to be yet another reboot.
Is Justin Smith in this one too?
Thank God he's not. But so Jurassic World, and I'm going to be honest with you here, there's only been one good Jurassic Park movie in this entire franchise that has stretched out way further than it ever needed to. The first one was good. The second one was ass. The third one didn't need to happen. And then the Jurassic World movies are all dumb on the fundamental basis of, you mean after all these people have been eaten by dinosaurs over the last 30 years, they decided to keep making more dinosaurs and somehow thought that, oh no, we'll turn them into weapons. We'll put them into war. They'll go out there and fight the Taliban. We'll get the raptors fighting the Taliban. That would be great, right? And it's like, oh, then a bunch of people got eaten and we got sued. It's like when the whole thing went belly up. This is my biggest
raptor. Won't you chew on me, American raptor?
I hate you so much. But no, like even with the second film, where it's like, okay, so you guys created this entire amusement park. All the dinosaurs got loose and killed a bunch of people, yet somehow you guys didn't get sued completely out of existence.
Several times, in fact.
Like several times
one
over.
Time that happened.
This series
happens a lot. That's a feature.
This series is like all of the movies that we've talked about. They keep failing, but they keep going back to it.
They make money. Don't say they're failures, because they made money.
Well, this one. I don't know about the other ones, but this one is. So the whole thing with
failures. I'm talking about the actual park, the actual theme park.
Yeah,
it keeps failing.
Yeah. And the movie concept, it keeps failing. They just keep doing it over again. But so here's the deal. Now Chris Pratt is not going to be attached to this movie, so there's no Chris Pratt for this one. So they replaced him with Scarlett Johansson. So what you guys are seeing here is a concept trailer that was kind of touched up with AI, and this is what's going to happen here in this new Jurassic Park movie. The movie is called Jurassic World Rebirth. So this is supposed to take place 5 years after the events of Dominion, which is the last one that came out a couple of years ago. And now, Scarlett Johansson is playing a skilled operations expert, and she's supposed to be teaming up with Mahershala Ali, who's supposed to be one of Scarlett's trusted team leaders. And here's what it says. It says 3 of the most colossal creatures that are within the tropical biosphere hold the key to a drug that will bring miraculous life-saving benefits to mankind. Experienced covert operations expert, what's her name? Scarlett Johansson's character is contracted to lead a team to a top-secret mission to secure a genetic material of the world's 3 massive creatures. When Zora's operation intersects with a civilian family who's been boating expedition was capsized in their aquatic reptiles, they find themselves stranded on the island when they become face to face with a sinister, shocking discovery that's been hidden from the world for many decades. And this is the entire plot of this new movie that's supposed to come out here. When is this movie supposed to come out now? This is scheduled for July of next year. So this is when this movie is supposed to come out. So they've only released a few still shots of it. Like I said, this is a concept trailer made from AI, but this is essentially what you're going to see with this next film that's coming out here in 2025. Now, here's the question people ask. It's like, Chris Pratt made the Jurassic World franchise a billion-dollar franchise. Like, I believe the first Jurassic World movie actually surpassed the first Avengers movie as far as box office details and receipts. And then the two afterwards, as much as we hate them, have done very well box office-wise as well. So the question here is that why in the world would you not have Chris Pratt back for a new one? Why would you replace him with Scarlett Johansson, who, if we're being completely fair here, has not proven herself to be a box office draw in any way, shape, or form? This sounds like a disaster waiting to happen, yet here we are.
You need to do it because little girls need to know that they can grow up to take on dinosaurs, confound it. It's no longer the men who are going to fight.
But by the way, it was a little girl who literally doomed humanity at the end of the second Jurassic World movie. So you know what? I would say to that, screw the little girls. The little girls don't... Rob, save me.
They need a little heroine. They need a heroine to look up to.
I don't know, guys. I mean, remember the first movie we reviewed on here was Jurassic World Dominion, and I actually kind of was like, yeah, it's not good, but I think it just checks all the boxes of like people getting eaten and being chased by dinosaurs, which is what all these movies are about. The original Jurassic Park is the best, obviously, and you know what? I haven't seen it in years, so the fact that okay, I remember when it came out, it got trashed by the critics, but I kind of enjoy Lost World, so whatever. I also enjoyed the novel, so at least I had that background to kind of go off of. But yeah, I get it. Lost World is not good. Hey, let's take a T-Rex to San Diego. Real smart.
They filmed that in my They filmed that in my old neighborhood, by the way. I remember that was a big thing back in the 90s.
Real dinosaur?
Well, not the real dinosaur, but you know, the whole like bus in downtown. It's like, I remember that was a thing. Because I mean, it was San Diego, we didn't get much, and the Chargers sucked. So
yeah, it's in Scarlett Johansson replacing Chris Pratt for, I don't know, a new 3 series. Like they're going to do another trilogy. I don't get it. I don't really know what their game plan is for this, but you know, they're like, hey, people like dinosaurs eating people, so let's make another movie. But yeah, Scarlett Johansson, outside of her Marvel stuff, I don't know what the fuck she's been doing the last 10 or 15 years. So I think she was in Lucy.
She got 2 Oscar nominations in the same year.
Oh, for Marriage Story
and Jojo Rabbit. Jojo Rabbit.
Yeah, I liked Marriage Story a lot better than Jojo Rabbit, but I still thought Marriage Story was pretty overrated.
Yeah,
song that Adam Driver sings at the end is from Sondheim, and I like that I was able to connect that because of my mom. So anyway,
well, actually, I didn't know who wrote it. I just Sondheim.
Right. So I probably would agree with that. Chris Pratt hasn't exactly had a great track record lately, but he certainly has a better one than Scarlett Johansson. So I don't know. She's not really. I don't really think of her as like an action movie, protagonist. So yeah, whatever. I don't really see it as like, oh hey, we're putting more female centric roles in the spotlight. It's just because it's a Jurassic Park movie. She's gonna probably be like some scientist and here's some smart things and girls learn science. But yeah, I really have no big opinions on this. It's just like, hey, it's another Jurassic Park movie. Okay. I mean, what made those movies at least watchable were the characters at the center of them. And you could at least say that about the first 3 movies, is that you had, either Ian Malcolm or Grant or whatever. Ellie Sadler. I forget
Sattler.
I forget what her name, but so yeah, I'm sure it'll make enough money to post a profit because it's Jurassic Park, but yeah, I'm kind of out on this franchise.
Well, the thing is that they're not replacing Chris Pratt. What they're replacing is Bryce Dallas Howard's ass. Okay? And that is the draw for these movies. I'm not lying to you. Like, I can assure you that at least 90% of the ticket sales are just to sit there and watch Bryce Dallas Howard's ass run through CGI jungle.
In heels.
Well, it didn't work well for her in Argyle, unfortunately.
Well, see, that's the thing. It's over. It started to sag. I'm pretty sure when she walks around, that thing claps against the back of her legs now. That's why they're bringing ScarJo in, because hers hasn't gave out yet. She's got a couple more years before that thing hits into soccer grandma territory. It's still soccer mom territory, but it's getting there. It's getting into, like, the cottage cheese in a plastic bag territory. You know?
I mean, look, that's the thing that bothered me about Argyle is that, yes, she was heavier in that movie, but they didn't do her any favors to try to, like, dress her flattering, like, at all, especially towards, like, the last act where they just try to pretend like, oh, no, she's not fat, she's beautiful and powerful or something like that. I was like, oh my God, what are you doing? And he's, like, literally, like, holding her up with, like, one hand. It's like, guys, what are we doing? Like,
it's a joke at that point.
Pure, unadulterated wine mom, cat lady fantasy. That's what we're doing.
And all you needed was just a couple of like lines in there to kind of fix the whole situation. It's like, okay, I can believe that maybe 10 years ago she was some kind of like super spy. It's like, fine, I can buy that. But you can't throw in a line like, hey guys, clearly I'm not in any shape to be a spy anymore. So what are we going to do here? It's like something like that where at least you're acknowledging that, that this woman has the body of a soccer mom. You're trying to have her be a super spy in a $200 million movie.
That might be one of the highlights of Argyle, to see Sam Rockwell, who's not particularly strong or tall man, be able to lift Bryce Dallas Howard with such power. Really, why are we having
you mean Jeff Goldblum's black daughter in The Lost World?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I wonder whatever happened to her.
Hey guys, I was 8 years old when that movie came out. Did you see the things I didn't care to notice?
So now
the third movie, I never saw the third one.
Leslie,
I saw the first one, and I saw the new Jurassic World movies, and the thing that I said to my friend Fidel, rest in peace, is why opening the park?
Yeah, you're roboting out real hard right now. So
he's botting. Yeah.
Go ahead. I don't know what happened there, but Sydney Sweeney was brought up, and I was like, you know what? I don't want to see her in Jurassic World. I want to see her in a Dark Angel revival. You could have that Glenn what's his face play the wheelchair bound but fake wheelchair bound guy from the show. And then
I don't know if that's gonna work though, because I mean, technically Jessica Alba is still young enough that you can like do just a sequel of her.
No, we saw what? No, Jacob. Remember Once and Always with the Power Rangers, 50-year-old women doing kung fu? How dumb that looked.
Wait a minute.
Okay, well, Catherine the Pink Ranger looks like literally a PTA mother. Like she should not be in spandex.
And Jessica Alba does not look like she's ready to do Spy Kids even.
Jessica Alba could be the mentor.
Look, yeah, super soldiers have babies. Guess who Sydney Sweeney came from? There you go. My mom was a super soldier. She died in action. There you go. There's your interlude. But there again, this is the best use of this girl, right? To do a Netflix series to get her into that like kung fu Buffy stuff, because that's where she wants to be. She really trained for this. She really studied to play the Spider-Woman character. That was what she was doing in her interview. She was talking about the comics she read about it, what she had read online in the fan forums about it, what the video games she's seen about it, because she wanted to really embrace this, only to find out there was like 15 seconds of it in the whole damn movie. So, put her in this, do a limited run Netflix series. It's like, 12 episodes of this, and do a revival. It's a great story for the time. Think about what Dark Angel was about. It's a really good time.
Cider, it wasn't Madam Web was not a complete waste of her talent. She did get to dance on a table.
That's
all right.
So,
yeah. So yes, there is that moment.
You got me. But that's the thing is like Sydney Sweeney, in my opinion, is best used for these like 90s revivals thing because she's still trying to like prove herself. So give her ground that's well tread and hasn't been exploited all to hell.
Yeah. Hell, let her reboot that old Pamela Anderson TV show. Remember VIP? Does anyone else remember VIP besides me?
No.
I thought you were going
to
talk about
Black Wire. I didn't get to watch
Wire.
TV that late at night.
Was that like Charlie's Angels, but in the 90s or something? What was that?
Yeah.
I think I vaguely
more
remember
sexualized.
Yes.
I mean, yeah, in a lot of ways. So.
Do Girl Knight Rider, okay? Just do Girl Knight Rider and cut to the chase, all right?
women can't drive though, so
That's the point. That's why the car drives.
Right. Okay, fair enough. I've not seen Knight Rider, obviously.
You can make that a joke right in the
God damn it, Kit! Fucking the voice of Mr. Feeney from Boy Meets World, William Daniels.
Yeah, he's still around. He could do it.
I can't believe he's still alive, by the way. He's like
he is still alive.
Late 90s. Yep.
Like who would be the voice of Kit in that scenario? That's a good, like, you know, what tone do you want, you know?
Yeah, this was for like 98 to 2002 right here, so.
Oh, wow.
The beautiful and lethal Valerie Irons. Plucked from obscurity to head an elite Los Angeles bodyguard agency. They know how to get things done. Eventually.
This was during the days of like syndicated TV. Remember when you didn't have cable on the weekends and you had to watch like 3 channels?
Yep. Is this like prime time, after prime time?
CBS is like, this will bring them back. They'll totally abandon cable for this.
This way before or after Stone talking.
Yeah, so you can do that.
You know, I thought you were going to talk about Barbed Wire. Like she should do a revival of that.
No, that was after
yet.
Barbed Wire.
You gotta do that girl next door stuff with her while she still looks like that. Then you can do Barbed Wire when she gets up to her late 20s and she's got like that, I don't want to be alone for the rest of my life, edgy, biological clocks ringing in the ear kind of attitude. That's good for Barbed Wire.
All right, well, back to this. ScarJo is an interesting choice.
Oh yeah, that one.
Because
I forgot we're talking about her.
Chris Pratt, whatever his flaws, and he's not an actor, he's an action star. I mean, his name could still bring in people to watch his movies. Can ScarJo actually bring in an audience with a whole new character in this already established franchise?
It's a weird thing with ScarJo because it's like ScarJo used to embrace the whole like sex symbol image like 15 years ago. Like that was the whole point of them bringing her in for Black Widow, like in the Iron Man 2 days, at least the very early stages of it. And then even later on with that character, she completely moved away from that, where she's not that anymore. And by the time this movie comes out, she's going to be 40. So you're not going to get her as a draw from that instance unless you're just a really big fan of her acting talent, whatever that may be at this time point. So it's like I said, I just don't understand. Like this seems like a downgrade on every conceivable level.
Well, I mean, it's not a big risk because it is a Jurassic World film. People, like I think Rob said, they want to see the dinosaurs. They want to see the dinosaurs eat people. They're not particularly invested in the characters. You're not going to.
Hey, look, these Chinese bastards. They'll watch anything. They just put a dinosaur on it. They'll go out there and watch it 6 times. That's probably what they do.
Yeah, put Velocipaster on for
them. Yeah. So, any final thoughts on this one from move over to our closer here?
Well, honestly, I don't even think I get my thoughts. Scarlett Johansson replacing Chris Pratt. This is Universal, right? That's doing this? Because I don't think Disney's gonna do or basically want Scarlett Johansson around ever again after her basically trying to sue them for a bigger payday. I liked Chris Pratt in the first Jurassic World. Second one, I mean, he was the only one that I could really stomach in that movie. The third one, same deal, except for the original cast. I thought they were okay, but except for Sattler, she was a bit stupid. But I don't know. This movie, there's no reason for it really. Jurassic World 4. There really is no reason for this movie. I don't see a reason for it at all, except for exactly what Rick is doing, cash grab.
Even then, it's like, why would you get rid of the guy who was leading the cash grab? It's like,
I already told you why.
Yeah. He's a good guy. I mean, there's every fucking people or fans of Hollywood hate him because he is a good guy. This is a dude that made to give you some context, This is a guy that made a joke about deaf people. And then when they fucking went off, he learned sign language so that he could apologize and that they would understand. It's like, dude, good on you. I mean, this is a dude that owns his freaking mistakes, but also is just genuinely a good guy. They also don't like him because he's not political.
Yeah, because he's problematic because he's Christian and he's a Republican. I'm like, who cares?
Well,
it's like Chris. Well, I know that, but Chris Pratt is literally taking this franchise that was seemingly dead like 20 years ago, brought it back to relevance, and each movie that he's been in has made at least $1 billion worldwide. So it's like to get rid of a guy like that seems like a very, very stupid decision to me. But as we've talked about throughout the entire night, nobody makes good business decisions anymore.
Now, did they offer him a part, and what was there some sort of breakdown in the negotiations for salary, or what was it? Or they decided, oh, we're just going to create this whole new character. We're not even going to bother with Chris Pratt and his character.
I would have to see exactly. It said the characters are only based on the trilogies, but essentially they're not bringing anyone back from the previous one. So they essentially wrapped everything up in Dominion with all those characters. And now they're just going to go in a new direction. So it's like,
well,
okay,
they did that
good luck with that one.
Yeah, they did that with the last one where they pigeonholed all the like old, you know, like what Grant and you remember that? Like, it was just like, okay,
where I thought Grant literally had dementia. I thought he had dementia.
Jeff Goldblum's his entire thing in this movie is just reminding people, hey, remember I told you 30 years ago this is stupid and you're still doing it? That's really his whole purpose in the film. But let's move on to our closer here. Our closer is Sonic the Hedgehog, because if there seems like there's one movie out there that people actually do want to see, it is Sonic the Hedgehog. Quick little note here on Sonic. Remember this whole thing started like 4 years ago when they released the first trailer to that first Sonic movie and had that terrible Sonic design that got lambasted by everyone. Now, instead of going on social media and doing 8-minute spoken word videos about how the fans are bigoted and racist and whatnot, Paramount basically just said, yeah, okay, we hear you. The design sucks. We'll fix it. And then they fixed it and they gave us a new trailer and everyone was like, oh yeah, this Sonic looks way better. And we're going to go see the movie now. And then it was a success. And then they did a second one, which is also a success. And it's almost as if, Paramount, at least with the Sonic franchise, found a formula that worked. And everyone else in Hollywood was like, nah, we ain't going to do this. Well, now here we have a third Sonic the Hedgehog movie. And in this movie, Keanu Reeves joins the cast as Shadow the Hedgehog. So here's a quick little showing of the Sonic the Hedgehog trailer here.
Sonic, you finally found your family.
Try to keep up.
I know it hasn't always been easy, but you didn't change who you are in here.
Yeah, in my lungs.
Or your heart.
There's been a high-level security breach. And we need Team Sonic's immediate assistance. Project Shadow is far beyond anything we've ever encountered.
Shadow's story began a lot like yours, Sonic. But where you found family and friends, Shadow found only pain and loss.
All right, we got a rogue alien on the loose. How do we find it?
Start with a giant fireball?
I love it. Let's start with a giant fireball.
He is much more impressive than the hedgehog I fought previously.
Dude, I'm standing right here.
You're a colorful bunch.
We don't want to fight you.
Actually, Sonic, I would like to fight.
No, no! My turn. Can we just talk about this? He's too powerful. Sonic! I can't believe I'm saying this, but we need you-know-who.
This is a bad idea.
When has that ever stopped me?
Doctor! We have visitors. This is sad, Robotnik. Even for you.
We need your help.
On one condition.
What? Do this!
If I can't rule the world, I might as well save it.
I need room. But, sir, I don't have the proper materials. Found some.
When we're done, there won't be anything left.
Hey, no cheat code. What did you do?
What I had to. Welcome home, my boy. It's impossible.
Is it?
It couldn't be.
Couldn't it?
Are you? In the saggy flesh.
So there you go. Sonic the Hedgehog 3 coming out, I believe. What was the date that I saw on there? Even though I just passed
December
it.
20th.
December 20th. There we go. Yeah, so like I said, one of the few movies that people were actually looking forward to, and looking at the trailer there, it looks pretty good. You guys know I'm an old school Sonic the Hedgehog fan from the Genesis era. So like I said, anything from the first Sonic game all the way to Sonic 3 and Knuckles is my jam. A little nod to Sonic CD as well. I think it was up until the GameCube era that I was with Sonic. That Sonic was Adventure 2 Battle was also a good one too, if you guys look for that era of video games as well. Then the movies have been decent. I said the first one I thought was pretty good. The second one, I think there was a little too much of the sister in that movie that kind of brought down the vibe of that movie. So I cut her out. It's probably a lot better. This one looks like they're going to kind of correct that problem. Hopefully we don't focus as much on the stupid family that no one actually cares about anymore. So, Cider, I'll start this one off with you. What is your thoughts on Sonic 3?
To be completely honest, I don't like Keanu Reeves as Shadow. I'm not gonna lie.
Cancel him.
No, I was looking forward to Hayden Christensen playing the character because I think Hayden plays a much more emotional anti-hero, as we saw with Anakin, and I think he would have been a lot better at expressing the edgy, I'm the edgy 14-year-old that Shadow has, whereas Keanu sounds like a samurai. He sounds like an older man. He doesn't sound like
he's 60. He just turned 60.
Right. And so it sounds a little strange coming out of presumably a 12-year-old hedgehog. That's kind of the age.
Well, actually, he's actually 50 years old because Shadow, in Sonic 2, they're like, we found a bunker from 50 years old, and it's like Shadow was in there.
Oh, that's
for 50
right.
years.
Okay. See, I thought he was fresh, like Sonic. Sorry, I thought he was like a super quick, easy bake clone. I forgot.
Robotnik fucked with time when he got his hands on the Chaos Emerald.
That's right. So
50-year-old Sonic, just hedgehog.
Again, it just throws me because I don't get the edgy boy out of Keanu's delivery. I get John Wick that skates at Mach 3. And I'm sorry, I have a very hard time getting out of John Wick when he speaks.
Well, better than when he was speaking in Bram Stoker's
Johnny Sonic
Dracula.
Hands. Yeah, you got Johnny Sonic Hands.
That was a dreadful accent.
So, who is this for? I mean, I know that the
target audience.
I know the first two movies did well. I mean, considerably well. Considering what it is. But is it for kids? Like, is it okay?
It's for little kids. Yeah,
I mean, I
This is
played
a darker edge. It's for Sonic fans, and that's going to include the adults.
Yeah, I played Sonic a little bit growing up. I mean, I even like the first apartment, like my friends they had Sonic on their Genesis and everything, and it's a fun game, memorable, certainly comparable with Mario in terms of the franchise icon or whatever. But I don't know. Maybe I'll have to go back and try to watch the first one. But Jim Carrey seems like this is the only thing that he is interested in doing right now, which I call Jim Carrey.
Retire, but
this is
he
the thing.
just won't.
Yeah, Jim Carrey's a weird guy.
What a surprise.
Well, we mentioned this beforehand too. If you guys remember, Jim Carrey did the second Kick-Ass movie like well over a decade ago, and that was right around the same time that Sandy Hook happened. And he came out during the promotion of that film that says that, hey, look, nothing against anyone who made the movie, but I can't promote this. I really don't want to be associated with it. So it's like kind of like stepped away from that movie as it was coming out. And he actually was pretty good in that film, but obviously that whole situation had a negative impact on him. And if you look at his filmography the last 10 years, he really hadn't done anything in that time period, except for when they offered him the spot of being Dr. Robotnik in the Sonic movie. And I guess he figured in his mind, it's like, hey, look, this is for more of a family audience, more of a kid-like audience, so I can be kind of over-the-top Jim Carrey in the portrayal of Dr. Robotnik and entertain kids. Like, yeah, sure, I'll come back and do that. And that's the only thing he's really been associated with over the last several years is this Sonic the Hedgehog franchise. And I say with Sonic, like look at the target audience, it's a lot like Mario, where it's like it's been around for so long and it's so iconic. You're going to have fan bases who are both older and younger. So you're going to have people who are there from like day one in like the Genesis era. And you're going to have people who probably didn't come along to like, like I said, the GameCube, maybe the Dreamcast era, even like new fans who are kind of into like Sonic Mania. So you're going to have different generations of fans attached to this. And I think they're doing a pretty solid job of at least bringing everyone into the fold where you're not feeling like, maybe too old or too young for this movie.
Well, I do want to point out this franchise has been very successful at, despite having as much of the video game lore and aesthetic in it, it has fully separated itself from having a video game tie-in. So what you'll notice is the Sonic franchise as its own little video game situation. Not touch this whatsoever. Transformers get a movie tie-in, Batman, all these other movie franchises get a video game tie-in. Sonic has not. And I think that's really benefited this because it's not made for like the story in the movies is not made for a video game. So it is entirely made for children. When you engage with a child about the Sonic franchise, like I would say a child from like 15 and under, after 15 they're kind of out of it. They don't care, it's annoying, they don't want to admit they like it at that point. But like, and under that, what they want to tell you is that Sonic is cool. That's all they really have to take away. They think Tails is funny, and they want to grow up to be like Knuckles. And that's what their takeaway is. That's it. That's all they get out of the movie. They don't get anything else out of it. It's a neat little light show, and they laugh when stupid things happen. And that's the end of it. Chili dogs. And so that's all there is to the movie. Introducing the tragedy of Maria's, spoiler, by the way, if you care about Sonic, introducing the tragedy of Maria's death and that being the motivation for Shadow being like permanently Vegeta, edgy, I'll never make any friends, crawling in my skin kind of stuff, doesn't venture too far out of... He's a walking Linkin Park soundtrack, this character.
That was literally the song I was thinking of in my head when thinking of a reference like Shadow.
I guarantee you that there will be some melancholy remix of that playing while he's walking around with a pump-action AK-47. Making no sense at all. So, and driving a motorcycle. But again, like, I just want to finish this part about this, is that the franchise can withstand that kind of drama because it's always a fucking hedgehog doing it. So at no point does the impact of death ever really come on you because it's a fucking hedgehog in the middle of all of it. So
I mean,
yeah, they're not going to show a little girl getting turned into like red mayonnaise and on the pavement. It's not going to happen, but they'll imply certainly. Yeah, right. Yeah.
But this movie, I mean, I like the concept of Shadow. I've never really paid attention to the games or anything like that, but I've always saw that, or when I saw Shadow the Hedgehog in games and shit, it's like, dude, that black hedgehog is pretty fucking cool looking. And so when I saw that they were doing Shadow in the second movie when they did the little stinger, it's like, oh damn! Didn't this? Yeah, he was a villain. He probably gave Sonic a run for his money. And with how they're doing it in this movie, it's like he's just not fucking around in any shape, way, or form. And when you have heroic characters that are kind of give that levity, and then you have a deadly serious threat. To me, that is very interesting to see. So I want to see this movie. I supported the first one because it's like, dude, this guy listened to the fans. He's like, look, hey guys, I'm hearing you. We're gonna take a break from this movie. We're pushing it back till February. We're gonna fix it. We're gonna give you a trailer in another month, and you are no doubt gonna like it. And people responded to that. That's why Paramount got a little bit more money and started getting a little bit more successful, because Todd Phillips, yeah, he listened to fans. He didn't do the whole, well, fuck you, who the fuck cares what you want? No, he listened to fans. And then came the second one, because this guy was listening to fans a little bit more. It's like, dude, you brought in Knuckles, fucking awesome. And Idris Elba as the voice for Knuckles, masterclass. I watched the Knuckles show. That was pretty corny, but also very fun too, because it's like they had the best freaking song for him, Warrior by what's her name, and it's like, oh dude, that just works for no reason at all. It just works. But for this third one, having them be like, okay, I'm gonna fight this dude, then have Shadow just humble freaking Knuckles, it's like, oh shit, this dude's not playing around.
Yeah.
And that's what interests me. Having a character that is going to basically just fuck everything up, not give a shit. That's the kind of villain I want to see in a movie. And if it has to be a little black hedgehog to do it, fuck it. I don't care. I'm in.
Yeah. So some of you kids never knew the struggle of the Genesis era. Or the Super Nintendo.
Oh,
Chemical Plant 1 and 2.
Super Saiyan Sonic that they had in the second one, right?
The Hypersonic. Real quick, because you mentioned Chemical Plant. My mom, who does not play video games at all ever in her life, I remember one time 30 years ago, we tried to get her to play Sonic 2. She made it to the Chemical Plant, which is the second level in the game. Wow. Could not pass it and gave up. And never picked up the controller ever again. So there you go. What do you got here, Cider? Oh wait, sorry.
If only it were like old times.
Prom 1992. The theme was a night of non-consensual sex under the stars with hedgehogs.
What the fuck? Okay.
You're one of the game grumps
fucking
tonight,
weird.
aren't you?
All right, we're entering furry territory here.
I'm glad I don't have any friends.
The President of the United States has a picture of Shadow and Sonic on his desk.
That would be probably one of the more rational things that Joe Biden would
If only that was in the Reagan movie.
I can't wait. I can't wait for like full meme Trump, right? Like let's just say he goes like crazy grandpa, like he doesn't know what reality is anymore, and he's like, I just want to let you know that Sonic the Hedgehog is a wonderful, wonderful American citizen. Tremendous chili dog lover.
Shadow the Hedgehog, not so much.
I keep a picture of him on my desk to remind me to go fast.
Shadow across the border. Illegally. We have to send it back.
Mm-hmm. Yes,
there you go.
And it's not because he's black. Just to make sure.
No. But
you're stealing black hedgehog jobs. You understand me?
Cider's talking right now.
I'm sorry.
Jesus fucking Christ. No, I'm saying thank God you're talking right now. Just so I didn't have to hear that anymore. Thank you. Holy fucking
welcome.
shit, dude.
I've never
What,
seen
do I do
any
that
of
bad
these
of a Trump impression?
You're no Shane Gillis, I swear that.
I've never seen any of these movies, and I shudder the thought that you're going to make me watch this one. I mean, good for
You literally
them.
have several months to watch the
watching
first
the
two.
third movie of what is it with you and watching the last of each movie or each fucking franchise first?
Rick has like several months to prepare to watch like other movies to catch up. He'll just go like, "No, I'll just watch part 18 of this franchise that I've never seen before."
Yeah, pretty much,
dude. Rick, last one first, Aragorn.
Yeah, pretty much.
That is your new name, Rick. Last one first. Your channel name should be Last One First Enterprises or Last One First Reviews.
Yeah, well, could be. So I've never seen any of these. I never played the video game. I didn't even know there was a video game. I'm just happy for the
You know that Sonic the Hedgehog is like one of the most popular franchises not named Mario in like the history of the world for several years. You just didn't know about that?
No, I read. I'll just know that
nerd.
Look, good. That's right.
I am untethered and my rage knows no bounds.
Beat it. Wash your ass.
Good.
And on that note,
good. I'm happy that the fans are getting what they want. That's my quick summation.
On that note, we're going to go ahead and wrap things up here for the night. So we're going to go ahead and give our buddies here a chance to promote anything that you guys want people to know about and talk about. So Cider, we'll start with you.
Over on Bounding, the voting has ended, I think. Maybe. I'm not sure. I don't know how to shut off YouTube polls, but whatever. 81% of the people who responded wanted a conspiracy show once a month over on Bounding into Comics, so expect that. We're calling it Ancient Echoes. And tune in at some point. We'll advertise it, and you'll be able to join in. We'll be talking about the Denver International Airport. And until then, feel free to tune in anyway for the daily videos we're putting out. Jacob's got his reviews, and I'm covering the weird stuff going on in gaming right now, like Concord not living as long as a common housefly. So tune in about that. Okay, I'm done.
I'll explain to you what I just read here in a second. That's nothing to do with Cider, but I'll go ahead with Orange Hat. What do you got coming up?
Well, I got my theme streams going on Tuesday afternoons where I do themes each month. It's Kaiju. Jesus, I'm sorry, I'm having brain farts. Kaiju September. I just did the Kaiju of Pacific Rim. Next week is myth Kaijus from different mythologies, Norse and Greek and whatnot. Latter half of the month, Wednesdays are 1s and 2s with my friend Jade Shadow, Mara. We're going to be doing X1 and X2. Then we're going to be doing for the singles, the Wolverine Unleashed version and Logan. That's exclusively on X at 8:30 p.m. on my profile. Fridays are Orange Hat Uncensored. Sundays are the weekly recap. Mondays are Monday Night Rants, where I allow anybody to come on if they have something to rant about, as long as it is not personal Twitter drama or personal drama at all. If you got something like you want to bitch about politics, if you want to bitch about movies or something, come on in. It's an open invite. The link is always in the live chat. And other than that, I'm still trying to get to 2,000 subs. And if I can get to that before 2025, well, I might do something special for the channel.
All right, Rick.
Well, I finished up my Summer Under the Stars series. Thank heavens. Later on in October, I'm going to go over 4 versions of The Mummy, and more reviews, some comparisons between the originals and remakes. I'll probably do a comparison between the original and remake of The Boys in the Band. And that's pretty much it. And just more reviews and just seeing what new film you're going to assign us to suffer through. So that's it. Thank you, everyone.
All right, Rob.
Yeah, my internet just cut out and came back right at the right time. So fantastic. So yeah, I am still working my way back from just a plethora of reviews. Up next is Ghostbusters: Frozen Empire and the League of Terrible Gentlemen. I forget what it was. The terrible Henry Cavill Guy Ritchie movie. Yeah.
Gentlemanly Warfare.
Thank you. So got those coming up. My YouTube channel is going through some stuff right now. So but yeah, if I post a podcast, it'll be on my Twitter, which is available there at the bottom of the screen. That's pretty much where I talk about movies. Kind of getting burnt out right now, to be completely honest with you. Which is not good because we're heading down the home stretch here. But we got the Beetlejuice sequel coming up, a few other new movies, but I'm pretty much just playing catch up with stuff I haven't seen through the years. So kind of watching a little bit more TV, but yeah, I just want to get 2024 in the books here because it has not been a very good year. But yeah, if you have any recommendations, shoot them my way. As always, it's good to be on here with you guys, and everybody else have a good week.
All right, letting you guys know what I got coming up here. No Friday movie show this week. We will be reviewing Beetlejuice 2 next week, even though I literally just said I wasn't going to review it. But now that it's not 2.5 hours long, I guess we can review it here on the show because I wasn't going to sit there for 3 hours watching that movie. But now that I know it's not 3 hours, so we'll give you the pass. So that's going to happen going on next week. This coming Sunday on the show, Bible Lens podcast. I was not live last week because I was in Tennessee, but I will be live this week. We'll be talking about the mark of the beast, and there's a lot of misconceptions about what the mark of the beast is. A lot of people think it's going to be like some kind of microchip in your hand or in your brain or something you're going to use to like scan credit cards. It's none of that. Check us out this Sunday. We're actually going to tell you guys what the actual mark is. It's a literal mark from a literal beast. Tomorrow I should be on the 01 show with Cider Nerdigans. I think Spencer might be back this week as well, so check us out tomorrow on Bounding in the Comics. And then
something.
Yeah, Spencer. No one cares about Spencer, but outside of that, he'll be back. And then, we'll be back here next week to talk about more stuff going on in the world too. So I did just bring this up too because you were mentioning our conspiracy show, so I had to bring this up because this is just absolutely astounding to me. Apparently, this is real. That this is not, a rib. But did you know that in the Islamic religion, they teach that Muhammad was actually the first person to fly to the moon 1400 years ago. He flew on a mule into space and split the moon with his sword as written in the Islamic books. This is a real thing. This is not a joke post. I just found out that this is actually a legitimate belief in the Islamic religion. And me and Spiders had some conspiracy theories about the moon. I just find it very, very hilarious that they believe that Muhammad flew there on a donkey and split the moon in half.
Well, that's an interesting detail.
Well, my understanding is that he flew after his death through Jerusalem and dropped something, and that's why they built the Dome of the Rock, because he apparently flew there in a midnight ride on a horse. I don't know about the mule, but that there's some curious justification for building the Al-Aqsa Mosque on the Temple Mount. And it has to do with him flying at midnight with a horse over Jerusalem, even though he'd never been there.
Yeah, there's a lot of things that we'll uncover. And we've been doing a last few weeks series uncovering the lies of the Islamic religion, and we're going to continue doing that this week. So there's an episode.
That feel when you'll never be as happy as the donkey Muhammad rode to the moon when he split it in half.
It's like he's literally pulling off like Martian Manhunter feats on a donkey, like in space, and we're just supposed to believe that totally happened. And it's like, okay, like whatever you say, guys.
Hey, wait, you got to remember. Hold on, you remember that line that Dementia Biden said? Remember, "Oh, Earth Rider, thank you for the Great Lakes."
I thought Paul Bunyan made the Great Lakes.
Yeah, it was the Earth Rider, and now we know who split the moon. So who's the Earth Rider? Maybe it wasn't dementia. Maybe he was trying to tell us something.
Or I thought it was the Ghost Riders in the sky.
What's that, Lassie? There's a plot to take over the world with Sharia law trapped in a well?
Maybe Muhammad's somewhere in space right now doing donuts around Saturn. Who knows? But outside of that,
yep. That explains the hexagon.
Well, I don't know. What happens if he runs into the Jews in space from History of the World Part 1?
Okay, hit the
There's space Jews. There's space Jews.
Was it Pigs in Space from? It's like Jews in space.
Oh man. Oh. Yeah, on that note, we're just going to go ahead and end the show. So thank you very much for joining us here. Hopefully we'll see you guys on Sunday. If not, we'll see you next week here on the podcast. Adios, goodbye, and good night.
Okay. Oh.
Making your way through the daily grind takes everything you've got. Taking a break from all your worries sure would help a lot. Wouldn't you like to tune away? All those nights when you're feeling low, the rent is overdue, and your coffee maker's broken, your luck just seems to skew, and your boss is always on your case. Sometimes you wanna go where everybody knows your name, and they're always glad you came. Wanna be where you can see our troubles are all the same. You wanna be where everybody knows your name. Roll out of bed and you feel the dread. The morning's looking bleak. And your internet is down again. You haven't slept all week, and your car just broke down on the way. Be glad there's a place online where you can feel at ease. In the barroom, podcast friends, we share our thoughts and tease. Every story shared, every laugh so free. Sometimes you wanna go where everybody knows your name, and they're always glad you came. Wanna be where you can see our troubles are all the same. You wanna be where everybody knows your name. So here's to the moments we all hold dear. In this barroom of the airwaves with friends so near. Every story shared, every heartfelt cheer. It's more than just a podcast, it's where we steer.
I still don't feel like I know how to shoot these things.